evening and welcome to the FE Bar. I'm your host, Jack Maynard, and joining me as always is Jack Pickering. Nick Cassidy, new team, no issue. He won another hectic Mexico E-Prix for 13th on the grid. Surely he is the master of Formula E. The big talking point though is Antonio Felix Costa. He escaped without a penalty for T-boning Maximilian Gunther. Where does Stuart Bright? Let us know. We want to hear from you today on that. We have so much to talk about, but remember, we cannot do this show without you. So make sure you get into Discord, join the waiting room, and have a chat on the series you love. Mr. Pickering, how are we?
I'm good. Happy New Year. Happy New Season. I missed Sao Paulo. I was busy getting plastered. It was a very enjoyable Christmas party, and shout out to Carl for doing an amazing job filling in my seat. So yeah, mega job from Carl.
No, it was. He did do an amazing job. And since then, we'll do a bit of advertising, right? Because I might as well do a bit of advertising. We'll do advertising throughout the show as well. But after that show, we made a book. We made a book. If you've got your book and you've ordered it, please do let us know that you've got it and what you think of it. I love it, and I used it. These are my favourite pages because now I've got a little history. I know exactly who went out in Group A, Group B, where they finished, where they came in the quarterfinals, final, and then I've started my race. I've already done the top three. I suppose that's the important ones, but exclamation mark book in chat, and that will take you to the Amazon links that you need to buy the book. That's what
I have a question.
Go on.
Do I get one free as part of the organisation or not?
I can potentially sort that out. Yes, I do think.
Okay,
unless you want to pay for it, or I think
I'd rather not. My car's gone kaput. I need to save how much money I can.
Yeah, I know, and I'm doing a thing. I can definitely give you some context of where to buy it. Yeah, Amazon, exclamation mark book.
Say exclamation mark book. I've tried that. Let's see if it works.
Yeah, it should work. I've made it. It's all works.
It works.
It works. So if you want to get it, that's where it comes from Amazon. It is worldwide. Well, it is supposed to be worldwide, but I don't know how worldwide is worldwide. I know it does US. I know it does Australia. But I don't know about every other country in the world. I know it does Italy, Germany, France, and some of the European countries. So, but that was a big thing that came out of the show. But we're gonna start. We're gonna take your calls, and we really want your calls. We should have Tobias Wirtz coming up later on in the show from eFormula DE or eFormula News about 8:30. And then hopefully, Nick at around 9, he is flying around the world. It's probably in the air as we speak. So this is really big dedication from Mr. Golding.
Where is he landing?
Charlotte.
I'll get up on Flight Radar.
Charlotte. So he's flying into Charlotte, and he's flying into Charlotte. And then as soon as he lands, he said, "I'll try and get on." So dedication from Nick there. So, are we ready? I know you're flight riding now, checking when Nick Golding is in the sky. It's probably over America somewhere.
Arrivals.
But let's talk Nick Cassidy to begin with before we go on to the big event, because Nick Cassidy, and I'm sure plenty of people want to speak about Nick today, but we did a show a bit earlier last year saying who are the top 5 drivers in Formula E, and Nick Cassidy came out as probably the favourite to be that best driver, and by God, in a Citroen now, is he showing it, because from 13th, now it's not like you can't win from 13th, but like, we're not expecting Citroen to win. When we interviewed Nick Cassidy at the beginning of the season, he wasn't expecting to win races. He just wanted to be in the fight, fighting for podiums and being around there, which he's done. And I don't even think he thought he'd win that race, and I don't think anyone thought he'd win that race, especially with Eduardo Mortara having the attack mode left at the end of the event, right? And everyone thought, even I got my, I assumed that he would pass him and go on to win, but didn't. He's just brilliant. He knows how to master these peloton style races. To me, is the best. Arguably the best not to win a championship, but even though Vern and people won 2 championships, I know, but as we're saying at this precise moment, but even though these drivers have won championships, I still think he's better than the ones that have won championships.
I think Nick's been definitely robbed on a couple occasions. I think season 9 and season 10 he came oh so close, and he was taken out the season 10 fight. That was a horrible thing to happen by a rival. It was Antonio Felix da Costa who took him out in London, which I mean, like, no one wants to do that. I know that Antonio went after the race and everything, but yeah, Cass, he has got everything just to a T. He stick him in any car up and down the field, he will be fighting there or thereabout. And even then, like, we saw him midway through the race, he was down in like the mid-teens, and yeah, he pulls this out of the bag. He and Oliver Rowland are the two who have got this peloton PAX racing, whatever you want to call it, style nailed down to a T, and they've just they are absolutely fantastic at it.
No, he is. It's just it was the same. It was the same in Sao Paulo. Like, just coming from nowhere to then finish on the podium, and it's the attack mode strategies that they use. He went different, so he used that 6-minute one first, right? Used the 6-minute, got himself up there, then used the 2-minute, right? And we all thought, okay, he's used the 2-minute, this is where Mortara's going to come back at him. But to go from A to B, you think, take a podium all day long, to go on and win it, incredible.
Yeah, well, now he has to do that bet or whatever he wants. Well, that's if he holds his end of the bargain. And obviously, he mentioned that to Karun in the post-race thing. And then for those who haven't seen it yet, watch the driver's press conference, because Jono asked about it, and he was very tight-lipped about it. So we'll see how he rocks up to Miami, but I'd quite like to see what that would look like without it. I mean, I say that. Do you remember in 2020 when everyone did the bulk cut? Awful, awful. So I didn't either. Do you remember what I did?
I think when we were doing these FD shows, we were just growing our hairs out, and I go back and look at some of those shows that we did over COVID, and our hairs were. If you want to go back and look at some archive footage on FDZ, if you haven't, and have a look at our hairs during COVID when we were trying to do a Formula E show every day to, like, keep everyone sane and keep things going. Our hairs got pretty atrocious, but then I go back there and I look up how young I looked, and oh my god, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, no, I've been doing that a lot this week as well, because like people have been sending that photo, and I look at me when I was when I was younger, and I look better then. There was one photo I found when I went to the Paris E-Prix in 2017, and I looked at myself and went, I've got a jawline. I don't remember having that jawline. I think you have a jawline.
Something that I don't know if my beard covers it.
Yeah, but I mean, the reason why I have the beard is it makes me look a little bit less fat. So yeah,
mine was to make me look less like a baby.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, I do that. If I shave this off, I look about 19. Like, I don't. I don't.
No.
Yeah. That's why I keep it. This is probably like the longest that I go in terms of my beard. Because otherwise it gets all scruffy, as people will see if they go back to. I think if you look in August 2020, like start of August, because that would have been. So I'd say around the final rate, because that was the 6 and 9 races, weren't it?
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could have had haircuts by then. God, it feels like it was not that long ago, but it's now ages ago.
Yeah. And if you look at how I presented myself, that is abysmal. I think I had to swipe my hair out my face like 3 times a minute, and my beard was so atrocious. It was horrible. It was just absolutely horrible.
Yep. Chris says I still look 19 without the beard. I'll take that all day long. All day long.
You do.
I want to talk to Costa. Let's talk about this incident, and then we'll get a quick call in before Tobias comes in. I was umming and ahhing about this, and we do have a little special video coming up on Tuesday, which you and Joshua Birch filmed, analysing the incident. So we'll look forward to that. So, but I still want to. I'll give my 2 cents, because obviously I was there in the background, kind of producing it. But then and I kind of agreed at the time.
You forgot to press watch stream.
Yeah, I did. So I haven't even actually looked at it.
You just listened to me and Josh talk about it. You haven't actually seen what
I haven't actually seen what you made. Which would be exciting because for me as well. But like at the time, I was like, penalty, right? Has to be. Then I kind of, once all the evidence has come back and I saw what was written by the FIA, kind of, all right, I understand. It makes sense. But as that information has sort of digested and I've processed it and I think, right, I don't actually think I agree with what has been written. I agree with a lot of it, but there's one line that I don't agree with, and that's the line. So basically, in the thing, it says that Gunther line was taken into consideration. So he had taken a tighter line, which meant that Da Costa was more likely to T-bone him, right? So therefore, and they said it was a series of unforeseen circumstances or, unfortunate events where, Cassidy's trying to overtake Da Costa's trying to overtake Tictum, and then Gunther's taking this tight line, bam, crash. And I'm like, okay, all right, fine, okay, I understand that. But then, as Gunther's line, why should Gunther, and this is, I really want to get yours, guys, so if you've got an opinion on this crash, I really want to hear from you guys. Because for me, I accept all those lines, apart from this Gunther line, because why should Gunther worry about the cars behind him when he's trying to pass in a pack race? He's trying to get an advantage, trying to go tighter line, get tucked in, try and get a good He's worrying about his race. He shouldn't be worrying about someone T-boning him from the side, right? Which has happened. Okay, so I think Gunther's line is irrelevant here. So then I go back and I go, what is this saying? Does this mean now, in certain circumstances, in a circumstance where I am trying to overtake a person, if I then get it wrong and T-bone somebody else, that's acceptable? Is that what we're saying here? Is that what the stewards are saying? That is now acceptable? I could go into the steward's room, but mate, when Da Costa, he was trying to overtake Tictum, or I was just trying to overtake, Roland here, and unfortunately I T-boned Muller. You didn't give him a penalty, why should you give me a penalty? Is that what the stewards are saying is acceptable now?
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting one, and I'm surprised that that wasn't a penalty for Da Costa. Admittedly, I don't, and I mentioned this in the video that's coming out on Tuesday, that I don't think that he was completely and utterly in control of what he could do, because I believe the fact that Nick was squeezed on the inside, again, Da Costa's fault, but the fact that he was squeezed on the inside was assisting kind of like Da Costa into Gunther. So, but yeah, in terms of the blame, I definitely put the blame on Da Costa. I would have given him 5 seconds, which wouldn't have meant anything anyways. So yeah.
Yeah, let's have a look at chat, because chat is saying, so Gunther has nothing to do with it, in my honest opinion, and Dak got overwhelmed. Yeah, so I kind of agree with that. For me, Gunther doesn't have anything to do with it, and that line has just grated me a little bit, and I'm not sure. That's why we want your opinion. So if you've got an opinion, if you think Da Costa should have got a penalty, or if you agree with the stewards, you can agree with the stewards, by the way, right? So if you think, no, actually, I'll take that, he's got that right, then come on and have your say. So we're going to take a call, and I am going to go.
While you do that, I forgot to turn my backlight on at the start.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. 2 seconds. New setup.
New setup. It's already. Have you turned the light on?
I did see. Yeah, no, I'll turn my light on shortly. I did see someone that mentioned the lanyards. They are some of the lanyards that I've had in the paddock. There's one from every season that I've done. and multiple from a few other seasons. But yeah, no, we'll get into that if someone asks about it later. But yeah, go on. I'll turn my light
You'll
on.
turn your light on, and I will get. Let's get Zoe in. Zoe, hello. I thought it makes sense to open the show with our resident Cassidy fan. To be fair, we got quite a few. Now that Cassidy's knocking about, but as I know for certain that you are a very big Cassidy fan, I thought, we'll start here. Obviously, he's gone to Citroen, right? And if you remember from our sort of interview that we did with him, he wasn't expecting, it was a project, right? A project for Gen 4 and go into Gen 4 and fight for a championship. I'm not saying Cassidy is going to be sitting here now and fighting for a championship, even though Mexico has that sort of, symbolic thing over the last couple of years. But he just shows how good he is. And I think the cars are so close that he might have gone into this season thinking that he's not in a championship fight, but all of a sudden, you can't rule him out.
Yeah, I mean, he even says it himself in like the post-race press conference. He's like, well, I've spent a lot of my career in kind of cars at the top of the field, and now obviously he's in a car that hasn't typically been at the front of the field, and he's still winning races. And I do think that really does showcase his skill and his ability. And I do think that if the car is there, he will put himself in this championship fight. And I think the car looks better than it did last year. The field's kind of closed up a bit. I think a lot of the problem the Stellantis cars had last year was reliability issues. I mean, Gunther breaking down a lot. The Maseratis had a couple brake failures was it Jakarta? But I think if the car lets him, he will put himself in the fight because he's that talented.
Oh yeah, well we had that discussion, didn't we, Pico? That he's one of the better drivers on the grid, and arguably, I said at the top of the show that he is the best, and even though people have won championships like Oliver Rowland, I think he's better than him.
I'm biased, but I do think so too. I think obviously the qualifying, it's good that qualifying doesn't necessarily matter as much, because even if sometimes he makes mistakes on qualifying laps, he will always make up for it in the race. And he's shown that he can do that now across like multiple different styles of races, like the full-on pelotons, the sort of high energy save. He even wins the ones where you don't need to energy save as much, like one of the races in London. So I think it's showing that he can win across all these different types of races, all these different cars, teams. Like, it's got to be that he's now proven himself as the best driver on the grid for me by like immediately coming into a new team, new powertrain, new manufacturer, no expectations, and just getting a P3 and a win in his first two races with them.
No, yeah, I agree. Pico, anything to add?
Yeah, sorry, I had to unmute myself. I genuinely he's shown his prowess. We know how good he is from when he was back when he was at Envision. It took him a little bit of time to get his feet underneath underneath the table, but when he did, my God, he's been incredible. Like, there's a reason why he fought for the championships in season 9 and season 10, and in season 11, he was a vice champion despite not scoring points in the first 5 races. That is absolutely insane, and he was second only to Ollie Rowland, who we all think had the most dominant season like we've seen in a very long time in Formula E, if not ever. And so, yeah, we knew how good he was. Well, we didn't expect this to happen this quickly. I don't think anyone really expected this. No. With the switch to Citroen, the fact that Citroen are technically a new team, but last year when they were Maserati, they didn't have the best of times, even with a world champion in Stoffel Van Dorn. Like, they genuinely struggled. Yes, they got that win, but there was there is a tiny asterisk around that one because of everything that happened. But yeah, to come into this team, to put his feet under the table so quickly and to win, absolutely remarkable. I do think that Edo could have potentially challenged it. I think he just was tight on energy. But Cass, I mean, I've run out of superlatives for that man, because the amount of things that he does in the Formula E car is absolutely insane.
It is. It's crazy to me, and it's like something that I monitor, which is a little bit nerdy, but I really like the career win percentage stat.
Yeah.
Because to me that kind of shows like which drivers have been, getting the most wins out of the races that they've had, and he's leading that by a huge margin over Felix Rosenqvist now.
Yeah, big
And
up Felix Rosenqvist.
Felix Rosenqvist was running away with that because he has like 12%, 3 wins from 25 races. He was running away with that stat until the very end of season 11. And Nick Cassidy now leads it by a pretty hefty margin. I think he's at 14.81%,
Yep.
which is just it's a crazy amount of wins from like the fact that he only joined in season 7. Like it's crazy to me, to be honest.
Yeah. But he's also been here a while now, but he's been brilliant. Arguably could have had 3 championships, but he's sitting on 0. What do you think the future is for Cassidy now at Citroen? What is your expectation now going into this season? Maybe you went into it not knowing, what to expect. Now that he's won a race, after 2 races, he's currently leading this championship. He hasn't been very good in qualifying, For all his pace and everything, he hasn't had a great start to qualifying. What is your expectation? What is a good season for Cassidy?
I'm not expecting a championship. I'm still keeping kind of like, I'm tethering my expectations a little bit. I'm trying to go in with like, all the optimism in the world because I think it's quite fun. But I would say top 5 in the championship would be really good in a first year in a new team. If not top 3 championship podium. I think the qualifying is something that needs working on. I mean, obviously he can overcome it, but it does make it more difficult. And in certain races, you can get kind of mired down in the pack and end up with contact that wasn't necessary if you just qualified a bit higher. Like the incident with Da Costa could have very easily ended his race had it gone a little bit differently. Luckily, it didn't. But if he'd, say, qualified a little bit higher, then he wouldn't have been in that position in the first place. So I think my expectations would be for this season like a P3 in the championship, maybe. I'm not going to go. Obviously, I would love for this to be his year for the championship and the Mexico superstition and everything, but I'd say realistic expectations where I'm not getting ahead of myself would be like a P3 in the championship.
Okay, I think that's acceptable. But at the moment, I think just last word before we bring Tobias in. This season, I suppose the good thing for Cassidy is this season has been incredibly unpredictable. Like I don't think anyone on this show, any Formula E fan would have gone, who's going to get pole? Sebastian Buemi. I don't think anyone would have said that, right? I reckon he would have been, even though the odds in Formula E, I reckon he could have been a 500
You
to 1.
You have a 5% chance of getting that right.
Yeah, but like,
just out of statistics.
Yeah, but like no one would have said that. But that shows you just how, 1, competitive this series is, but 2, how unpredictable it is. Which means even though he's gone into a season where he, he's just hoping for a transition, right? That he could still walk away with this championship, which would be incredible.
Yeah, I really hope he does because I think it would be a great story, and for like this to be the championship that he wins, or like the one that he has no expectations, no anything, that would be great. But I'm trying to keep myself reasonable so I don't start getting ahead of myself with Nick Cassidy championship shouts
Already, yeah,
but,
yeah. No, I get that. Yeah. So maybe we'll get you back in Miami when he wins that one, and we'll see if your opinion changes.
If he wins Miami, I will be getting on the show and saying that he's winning the World Championship. There's no doubt about it.
I think I'd happily put a bet on at that point for him to win the championship. But, yeah.
Perfect. Well,
if he wins Miami, I'm sorted.
Yep. Zoe, though, thank you so much for coming on. Massively appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take a very short 60-second break while we get Tobias Wirtz in from E4ML News. So don't go anywhere, we'll be back in 60 seconds. You can count them.
60, 50.
and we are back, although I'm not quite back in time to get Pico's camera back ready, fix the little issue that I think Nikki sorted, because, you know, things don't save properly. But we are now joined by Tobias Wirtz from E4MLDE. How are you, my friend? How have you been? Happy New Year and all that. I hope you had a lovely Christmas and everything, and we're already back to work, back to Formula E.
Good evening, guys. Yeah, all good. Had a good time off about Christmas and New Year's Eve, and yeah, not much news stuff to do. Of course, Formula E had winter Christmas break too, so not much to do for us. But yeah, the year started with a very, very busy race weekend in Mexico, I think.
Yeah, it did definitely. I want to talk to you, as you're obviously the German correspondent. It felt right to speak about Porsche, because obviously going into the weekend, right, Porsche were the favourite. Everyone's like, Porsche so good here, they're amazing, and then you got to practice, Dennis is quick, Verline's quick, and then we get to qualifying and it doesn't go that way. But Verline gets himself, misses out on the duels obviously, but gets himself with his first attack mode, takes his first attack mode really, really early, and gets himself up to first and second with Muller there. And at this point in the race, I don't know what your opinion is and what your thoughts are on this, but when they're 1 and 2, I thought straight away, I went, Muller can win this. All they needed to do was allow Muller to take his first attack mode and then control the race. And then, you know, kind of what Jaguar did in Monaco. But I know it's tighter and harder to overtake in Monaco, much easier it is in Mexico. But they could have tried to have been a bit more strategic to sort of, you know, keep the lead essentially of the race, right? And maintain it and try and have some element of control. But they didn't do that. And I don't know if they kind of knew everyone took the attack mode towards the end, so maybe they were thinking, oh, we can't do this, it's too early, even though they'd taken a really early attack mode with Verline to get himself into contention. But maybe they thought it was too early. But I thought there was a real opportunity for Porsche to control that race, which slipped through their fingers because the finishing positions were not great, you know, for Porsche.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Porsche did a miscalculation. Regarding qualifying, Verline made a mistake in his first push lap. He had a lockup, and I think it was turn 4, turn 5. He lost more than 0.3 of a second, I think. And yeah, we saw something very special in Mexico, that the tires were not able to do 2 push laps in qualifying. All drivers who did a push lap did a cool down lap, but with the next push lap they were not able to improve their lap times. That's something that was really special in Mexico. I think it has to do with the track temperature they had, because it was really, really cold. And yeah, then Verline was starting from the back, and then was the Porsche miscalculation, I think. Porsche was thinking that it was much more difficult to overtake in Mexico. I think they were surprised that it was so easy to overtake after the chicane was missing. And yeah, what you said, the strategical thing about attack mode, that's not possible, because you can't keep another car behind you and drive 1.5 seconds slower, as you can do in Monaco, for example. That's not possible in Mexico, because if you are 0.5 slower, then you get overtaken before the stadium, or on start-finish straight, or those.
But do you think the stadium section is a good section to, you know, just lift off the gas a little bit? Because it was probably the tightest part of the track, and also attack mode in Mexico arguably is one of the least that you lose throughout the season, right? So you wouldn't have lost, you know, if he was 0.7 of a second, like Muller could have potentially have done that and got in, and you know, Pascal maybe could have tried. I know it's a really close race, but I just thought them two being so close to each other, you had the option of potentially, because you've got a 1 and 2, which could have become a 2-4 or 2-3, or a much better result, because I think Pascal Wehrlein was like 5th. I know Nico Müller was like 9th, and all of a sudden you were leading the top 2 and you're looking in a good position, and it just doesn't go your way.
Yeah, the problem is the stadium section is quite tight, but to be honest, you just have one corner in the stadium section before you have to leave the race line to take attack mode. And in this one corner, I think it's not possible to drive that slow to create a gap that's big enough that the driver in front of you keeps his position. Because you lose a bit more than 0.7 of a second when going to the attack zone. But I think the main problem was that Nico Müller, I think he was leading the race 17 laps. That's nearly half the race.
Yeah.
And because of this, I think he just was over-consuming, so he had to save energy in the end. All the other drivers, for example Cassidy, for example Roland, for example Dennis, they were saving energy in the slipstream, which hasn't been a big topic in Mexico in the past, but due to these changes to the track, it's got more topic, let's say it that way. And I think Porsche just miscalculated that, and they were leading too much, and in P1, P2, 50% of the race, it means at the end you will not have enough energy. And then I have to say all drivers did the same tactics. I think we had all drivers in the top 10 activating their attack modes in the last 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah.
So that in lap, I think it was 34 or 35, all drivers were on attack mode. And so you can't make any progress if the driver in front of you has 350 kilowatts and all-wheel drive too.
Yep. No, for sure. Like I fully agree, but I just think they could have got their first round of attack mode sorted, and then tried to manage the race best they can from a 1 and 2 position, and swapping between each other potentially to help with the battery management. But I understand it. The problem is with Formula E, right? It's so unpredictable and it's so crazy, right? These pack races that they are. I wouldn't want to be like in Formula 1. I feel like people can sit at home and be a backseat, strategist and go, I would have done this, I would have pitted here, I would have done this. In Formula E, I think that's the worst job you could possibly have, as being the strategist, because no idea what is going on.
Yeah, probably. But I also have to say, Nico Müller made a mistake in the hairpin.
He did.
He lost about 1.8 seconds, I think, and it's easy to say.
He made his own attack mode.
Absolutely. But if he didn't lose this 1.8 seconds, he should have been in P5 in the end and not in P9. So it's. I think it's a combination of some things that happened, and leading the whole race is wrong. Leading half of the race wasn't helpful either. Yeah.
Let's talk Sebastian Buemi. Go on.
Very, very quickly, I just want to throw into this because obviously we spoke about Porsche and the whole leading, especially for Nico Müller. But it's not like this is a one-off. It's something that they have done before. They did it in Berlin last year. They did Wehrlein led most of the race, and then he faded to, I think it was 16th. And
that was the championship day, wasn't it? It was the championship day.
The championship was decided, because we all thought going into it, this championship's going to London. Wehrlein led half the race in Berlin, and then fell back to 16th at the end of it. So it's something that Porsche have done before. So I'm surprised that they kind of went for it again.
I think you can't say that it's the same, because in Berlin it was another issue. In Berlin it was something tire related. Porsche had the wrong tire pressures, so they had much more tire degradation than other teams. So Weyland was not able to overtake other cars with even in attack mode at the end of the Berlin race. So I think he stayed 3 laps in attack mode behind Zane Maloney.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm sorry, but the Lola is not the fastest car.
Yeah.
But you have to overtake it, even especially when you in attack mode. But he spoke to me after the race, and he said he had really tire issues, grip issues, front axle and back axle. So he was not able to put the power on the track, even in all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
I think this has nothing to do in Mexico. You usually don't see any tire degradation at all.
Yeah. Berlin's such a unique track for that.
Yes.
Let's talk Buemi then, because I don't think anyone in their right mind would have gone into this weekend and said, you know who's going to be on pole position? Sebastian Buemi, right? And that's why, as I said earlier, we'll go back to our book. You can put your predictions in our book, ! Book, to make your own predictions and so forth. But I'm sure whoever has brought the book did not put Buemi down as a pole position, and he's been on a good run lately. Envisioner's still a bit up and down, but Buemi, when he gets it right, can still show you why he's one of the top drivers in the series.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was his 17th pole position. I think that's something not many people mentioned. It's he's now the record holder in Formula E again, tied with Jean-Eric Verne. Both have 17 poles. And yeah, it was his first pole since Berlin 23, I think. So yeah, it's kind of surprised that he's able to be so fast and qualifying. That's something we did not see from him for a very, very long time, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know how, but he made everything right. And he stayed the car on track in the final. You have to mention that Taylor Barnett was faster, but he left the track in the last corner. So his time was deleted, so he lost pole position. Yeah, Taylor Barnett, have to say, did a really good race too. Yeah, and his new team is not Nick Cassidy is not the only one who's in a new team and did a really good job at the weekend. So Taylor Barnett, I have to mention, did the same. Yeah, lost pole position because of a tiny mistake. And then in the race, he just missed out narrowly on the podium with P4.
Yeah.
I think that's really good, good result. And yeah, he's doing good races again, even after leaving McLaren, who are no longer in the FE, as we all know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think for Taylor, right, he's still got a lot of learning to do for me. He's got that raw pace. But I think that racecraft of learning how to win a race is just one of those things. It will come, and also DS are one of those teams at the minute where they're quick and then they're not quick and they're not finding out. But it's just, I think it's that know-how that he's got to try and he's just got to get it right one day. And I think once he gets it right and he gets that first win, then I think Taylor could be like a Cassidy for sure. Like, starting to find race wins more frequently. But until he gets that know-how, but. I haven't forgot. I have seen it, Jesper. Jesper, I need you to get into the Discord. Thank you so much for the donation. He's asked a question, and I thought I'd throw this to you, Tobias, and because obviously Gen 4 around the corner next year. So he said, should FE race on the full Mexico Grand Prix layout next season? We need to give a Gen 4 a place to flex its kilowatts. Do you think that could be something that's on the cards next season?
Not in Mexico, no. Because I think the straights are far too long for Formula E. So we already have the problem that I think we saw in the changed layout without the chicane. The cars have not many opportunities to regenerate energy. And I think this is even much more heavier in the full layout. Yeah, you need to think about, if you do the full layout, do you do the F1 version of the stadium section too, or do you keep the Formula E section?
Which would make the track longer if you do the Formula E section.
It is, and it's of course a lot tighter. To be honest, in Formula One, the stadium section is not as half as tight as it's in Formula E, because you use the other way out of the stadium between the grandstands. Now Formula E goes back again and leaves the stadium in the same part of the stadium where it enters it. So I don't think it's a good idea.
I'm assuming there will be an extended layout.
The same for Shanghai, for example. If you want to ask this question, I think Shanghai, even more, is not a track where you can see good Formula E races when you do the full Formula One layout.
I think that's because they do the wrong. Personally, I think they do the wrong layout at Shanghai. They should when you go through like the snaily bit at the start, you then should then cut through, do that little chicane that World Touring cars used to do, and then go around, and instead of going all the way around the kilometre-long straight, which obviously Formula E can't do, you then cut across, do a little chicane, and then onto thing, because they can do that. The circuit's there, but yeah, no, that with Mexico City, yeah, the circuit is the Formula One circuit's too long. Personally, it's not that it's too long; it's that the straights are too long. And
yes.
Yeah, like you said, Toby, there's no regen spots. The fact, like you said, the fact they took away the chicane, and I think that's the whole reason that they made turn one for this weekend, is that it became more of a regen spot, because they were missing the regen spot of the chicane on the back straight. And so yeah, they would need to at least put a chicane on the front straight minimum, if not the run from turn 3 to turn 4.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah,
but
so there's your answer to your question, though, Jesper. The answer is no.
Yeah, no.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
But thank you again for the donation.
But talking about Formula One layouts, I would be very interested to see Formula E do the Miami Formula One layout. This would be much more interesting, I think, than thinking about Mexico or probably Shanghai. But we don't know officially something about the track until yet. Yeah, we saw already some documents, heard some rumors.
It's a bit.
But we have to wait and see. I think next week.
If it is the one that's being rumored, I will be so disappointed because they're doing literally the shortest circuit possible. And last year with the Evo sessions, they went up to that the final corner on the Formula One circuit and everything. I think Stoffel Van Dorn did a 1:06 or something like that. So if they do the truncated version, the lap times are going to be sub 1 minute, which I don't think is acceptable.
Yeah, well,
that's not acceptable.
106 is not too bad. We kind of saw that in Mexico. So
No.
I've just put that up.
106 is fine. Yeah.
That they used on the screen.
Yeah.
So this is what's in our book potentially.
It's not
that could
that.
Be used.
It's not that. So on that back straight, they're going to do an early hairpin and join the front straight.
Okay.
On the top of the layout you showed.
But
this was something that they'd used obviously for the Gen 3 Evo sessions.
That's what they used for the Gen 3 Evo, and Stoff did a 106.
Yeah.
If they're taking out that final part of the circuit, the lap times are going to be 50 seconds.
Yeah, I don't want it to be under a sub minute.
Pathetic.
I don't think it should be sub minute. No, right? Because
yeah,
I do agree with that. Tobias, anything to add before we let you go?
Oh, wait a moment.
He's like, hold my beer. I have got something to say. What have you got to say?
You're just saying beer because I'm German or something like that?
No, I don't know. It's the FE bar, in it, so it makes sense.
And yet,
okay, that makes sense indeed.
and yet he goes, and yet Jack has a go at me for having a drink during the show.
Because we got to be professional.
Make it make sense. I can be professional on one drink. 5, no. No.
Yeah, something I don't know. Many of you know. Is that Lucas Di Grassi and Jean-Eric Verne made a new record in Mexico City.
Go on.
Both drivers completed in Mexico more than 5,000 racing laps in Formula E.
Wow.
They're the first drivers who did this.
That's pretty incredible.
Wow.
That's one
Yeah.
for the FE stats. I wonder if Oscar's got them on his FE stats website. Need to go check. Need to go.
Yeah, but that's something I'm already preparing for my stats article that will be published tomorrow.
Nice. Well,
Nice.
make sure everybody checks that out though on eFormula News and eFormula LTE if you can read German. But Toby, thank you so much for coming on and spending your evening with us.
Thank you guys for having me.
No worries.
Have a good evening.
We will see you soon.
Hope so. Bye.
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 There we
But
go.
yeah, no, I really like that question from Jesper though, because I think that we do need to see a few more Formula E, like Formula One to try, Formula E to try do Formula. And I reckon that's why they're doing the truncated version of Miami, because they don't want the similarities.
Yeah.
With season 12, get your big boy pants on, Formula E. Let's do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anymore.
It matters about the racing, and plus, there's something to be scared of because I suppose Gen 4's around the corner.
Yeah.
But then, that's the big question, though, isn't it? But Formula E will be quick. It's not going to be as quick as Formula One, right? It's not. But
No.
it's going to be
But
a
the thing
significant.
is,
It's going to be a significant
Nothing's
step.
as quick as Formula
Yeah.
One. Look at how much of a fan base IndyCar's got, especially the last few years. Like when they went to COTA a few years ago, they were 20 seconds off the pace of F1.
Yeah. The current lap says Carl says why not
Who
Monaco
cares?
F1
The racing
layout?
was still good. Like for me, as long as the racing's good, that's what I care about. I don't
No,
like.
I fully agree. Right, so
Yeah.
what we're going to do, chat and everybody watching, is we're going to just carry on. So we've got a couple of people in the waiting room. Remember, we can't do this show without you, so we're going to rattle off a couple of calls. We know there's Nick at 9, but Nick is obviously in a plane, so whenever Nick comes...
Well, Nick landed 20 minutes ago.
Right, so let Nick try and sort himself out.
Yeah,
He's got a connection, go where he needs
flight
to
radar
go.
stopped again. Actually, no, I don't need flight radar anymore. I know he's landed.
He's got a flight connection. When he sorted it, if he does pop in, we don't actually know. He could come on. He may not come on. If I spot him and come in the waiting room, we'll take a small break. We'll grab him in, catch him up, and then we'll continue with the show. So Nick at 9 could be at 9:45. Who knows? But that doesn't mean you can't get yourself into the Discord and you can't have your say on the show. And that's what we're going to do now. We're going to rattle through your calls, and we're going to start with Natalie, because Natalie was the first person to be in the waiting room. So Natalie is now here joining us, and hopefully she will unmute and we'll get her views on the E-Prix. Natalie,
Hello.
how are we?
Fantastic, to be honest.
Good. What would you like to talk about?
Well, obviously Zoe's already touched on it, but
Cassidy?
Yep.
He's pretty good, isn't he? He's pretty good. What would you like to say on him?
Qualifying could do with a bit of an improvement, but in the race he just most of the time pulls it out of thin air. And
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know how he does it.
No,
I really don't.
that's the thing, and I suppose the conversation is here. Maybe with I know Cassidy's brilliant, and yeah, rightly so. We've touched upon it, but Pika, you can add in. But Natalie, we'll hear from you first. Qualifying then. Because the problem with these pack races is we sit ourselves through an hour of qualifying. Thank God now. The qualifying format's so much better than it was, right? Timing-wise. But it doesn't mean much. Like, apart from the 3 points for pole position, that's what it means, is you get those 3 points for pole position. But apart from that, it doesn't matter where you start. Look at Pepe Marti, right? Pepe Marti had every penalty under the sun, right? You know, a 60-place grid penalty for changing his gearbox. Had to start from the back. Finishes 7th. Got a 10-second stop-and-go penalty as well in that race. But because of a safety car, and because of the cars being so... One safety car brings you right back into the race. And he ends up scoring points. In any other series, he doesn't score points, right? Or is very unlikely to score points. So that's how crazy Formula E is. Is the issue slightly... Oh, right, yeah, he's not doing well in qualify, which, you know... like Tictum at the moment, means, apart from obviously the first race he did really well, but you can be in the middle pack and you can get in into some scuffles, right? So the only reason that qualifying is important is you've got less chance of being involved. But with the pack racing, you find yourself going up and down, up and down, up and down, that you can find yourself in a crash. And Oliver Roden nearly found that out as well at any time.
But also, the thing with the Peloton style races is it doesn't matter where you qualify because you can still have a good result.
Yeah, 100%. But does that devalue qualifying? Do we need qualifying to be important in Formula E?
There is also that as well. Is qualifying as important during the Peloton style race where you could qualify 13th and win the race?
Exactly. But it feels like more and more, Mexico was a harder race where qualifying maybe was more important, but we've taken the chicane out. I don't know if you agree with this, Pico, right? And we've gone to a more Peloton style race, and all of a sudden, we are seeing these. It doesn't matter where you qualify races. You can still win.
Yeah, I mean, like, we've seen it recently as well. I mean, like, if you look back to Berlin, the one that Nick Cassidy won last season, all three of the drivers on the podium started outside the top 16 on the grid, which it really does beg the question: what is the point in qualifying? Because it doesn't.
It does what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
It sets the grid for the race.
Yeah, it sets the grid for the race, but then it doesn't.
Qualifying on pole doesn't mean you've got the best chance of winning the race.
Well, yeah, tell that to Sebastian Buemi. He was leading for all of about
2 seconds, literally.
Yeah, and then went down the escape road.
That was on him.
That was gutting.
That was on him.
That was honestly so sad to see Seb go off. But it does question the point of qualifying, and like we've seen it so many times now that and I say it over and over again. There is no other racing series. Motorsport racing series in the world where if you're leading the race, you go, do you know what? I'm going to sit in 7th for a bit, because there isn't. The only thing that comes close is Moto 3, and Moto 3, they're all in slipstream for the entire race, but they all want to lead a race because they're 16, 17-year-old nutcases.
Yes.
And so, and that's the difference. There is no racing series in the world where you want to just sit behind people for the entire race, apart from Formula E. And it's I mean, I know that I moan and whinge about it all the time, and I know that you guys are all fed up of me just like going on and on and back. But it's what happens. What happens in the series, and it does kind of beg the question about qualifying, but it's playing into Nick's hands, because then he even if he does have a bad qualifying, and we saw it Berlin when he came from, I think it was, I want to say he was 18th on the grid when he won that one.
Yeah.
I think it was 17th or 18th, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I know that none of them were in the top 16 when none of the final 3 on the podium were in the top 16. But yeah, it just
Yeah. So same question I asked Zoe. Can he win the championship this season? I know he went in thinking, no, it's all about. But we've seen how wild Formula E can be. And
exactly.
It's only going to stay like this when we go to Miami, when we go to Jeddah, when we go to Madrid, probably. It's just going to stay like this. So if he can win now, and the races are going to stay like this, and looking down at chat, Circus Breakers Pod, hi guys, thanks for joining. He said if Nick's one of the most intelligent drivers, right, and chaos, right, because he's one of those intelligent drivers, the chaos that the pack races basically brings him to the front. He can deal with that chaos. He can understand the chaos, which will put him into a really great championship fight potentially.
Yeah, exactly. And also, statistically, in the last 3 seasons, whoever's won in Mexico has gone on to win the championship. And I really hope he can, because he's had so many nearly years with Jaguar and Envision where he's been so close, but it's just slipped out of his hand.
Yeah.
Sometimes not through his own doing either.
No, fully agreed. And Megan says in chat as well, she loves the qualifying format. I think we all love the
Who
qualifying
doesn't?
format.
I think
right? I think we all
I
love it.
remember
It's just...
watching it. Was it the first race when it came out in Diriyah, where because we had the qualifying format that we'd had for years before that, which was it was so obviously by the end of season 7 it was so weighted towards the guys at the back of the field.
Exactly.
That it was ridiculous, and so they changed it. And I think it was either the first or second race, but it was in Diriyah. It was round 1.
Yeah.
Where I think De Vries got into the final by 1,000th of a second, and that was the moment I think we all kind of sat up and went, "This is amazing."
Yeah.
I think the format I think the qualifying format in Formula E, I think, is second to none.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And to also add to that, I've been watching since season 5. I prefer the qualifying format we have now to the group stages in seasons 5 to 7, because it's just so much more unpredictable now than it was 6 years ago.
I saw someone, right? It's quite funny actually. I saw a TikTok today, right? And I got it. He said the first part of qualifying is boring. And I was like, you know...
I think it's better now they've shortened it.
Yeah,
now they've shortened it, it's good.
But let me get to his point, right? And I know there's loads of people right now, there's that do they do F1, and then all of a sudden they're now doing Formula E, and you're like, oh, hi, how are you? And he's like, oh, I just watched the qualifying session for Formula E, and I really loved the duels. Everyone loves the duels, right? Everyone loves the duels. But they didn't. He said, but the first, and to be fair to him, I must admit they didn't really do much apart from weave their tires. The lap times were really slow. It didn't really get to the last 2 minutes until anyone did an actual representative time.
Yeah,
but I was
who likes the first 10 minutes of Q1?
Exactly.
That
was my point. That was my point.
There's a reason why, if you watch the Channel 4 highlights for Formula 1. That Steve Jones goes, right, let's go to Alex Jakes for commentary, and Alex goes, welcome to qualifying, and then the graphics come up and it goes 8 minutes remaining.
Yeah, because I find the F1 qualifying. That was exactly my point. I find it's exactly the same as the F1 qualifying system, right? Yeah. Where people just go around and set times, and you're calling that boring, but that's exactly the series you make your content all about does. Like that, I don't...
Double standard.
I don't get it. I don't get it. It's exactly what Formula 1 do, but it's boring. Well, it is boring too. I'll be honest. It is boring. I find the group stage of qualifying pretty boring because I'm waiting for the last 2 minutes to set their laps. But it's exactly the same in Formula 1. I'm on my phone scrolling through Instagram, right, until the last couple of laps happen. And, he's out. He's, that's happened. But anyway, that's a side point.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sidebar very quickly. You say that, but Formula 1 qualifying needs to be that long because when we look at what they do with the sprint qualifying format, the sprint qualifying format is one of the worst. I prefer the elimination format they did for 2 races in 2016 over the sprint qualifying format.
Yeah.
Because when you get to SQ3, they sit around for 6 minutes, then they go, do you know what? I think it's time to set a lap.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway,
what's the point? Just make it a 4-minute session.
So it's just funny. I had to bring that up because I saw that today and I was just like, that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, for fingers crossed though for Cassidy, Natalie, that this form continues, and I'm sure it will. It just be better. But if he's better in qualifying, he doesn't have to use his attack mode as much to get himself back up into contention. But Natalie, we're gonna let you go because the waiting room's pretty full. We want to make sure we get through everybody. We still don't know if Nick's turning up. So thank you so much for coming on.
Anytime.
And we'll hear from you soon.
Alrighty then.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I had to bring that up. It didn't infuriate me as much. But you know when you like watching, I was like, well, it's the same as
Mate,
and all these.
it's infuriating me. I wasn't even there. It's infuriating me. I wasn't there.
But yeah, qualifying is important, and I get that from people in chat. Like qualifying obviously is important, and we need it. But you know, FE does have a good qualifying format. It's a shame that we go all through that excitement to get to the duels, and then let's say Buemi doesn't, for example. Although I think Buemi might have finished 5th or 6th, for example. So it feels like the pole position doesn't mean much.
The thing is, everyone in the duels had scrappy laps. No one put a good lap in the duels. It was just.
In Group B, no one improved their final lap.
Yeah.
That was also very interesting that no one in Group B improved their final lap.
I think Gemini said that like a good lap to get you, but to get you through to the semi-finals, you need to do a 104.9.
No one did it. 105.0 was the fastest.
Yeah, in the entire duels, not just the quarterfinal.
I've got it here. 105 semi-final. Mortara and Barna. This was an incredible semi-final. 105.070 for Mortara. 105.049. They were the quickest 2 laps. The final was Barna was a 105.1 to Buemi's 105.2. But yeah, and Buemi was quick 105.1. You know, Buemi was quick consistently, but 105.1 was basically the max he could do and get out of that car. Let's get some callers in, and I know there's a lot of people in the callers that have called before, but we've got a first-time caller, so I want to get the first-time caller in. We've got Alfonso Gaming. I'm assuming his name is Alfonso. Alfonso, I hope that is your name. If it's not your name, please tell us your name. Welcome to the FE Bar. And what would you like to say? Maybe I'll give you a bit more time to unmute, because I know people you sit around in the FE bar, you go away to the toilet, and then you don't realise that you're on air. And that could be happening for Alfonso right now, because he's still... Alfonso! I'm hoping it's Alfonso. What's your name, and what would you like to talk about?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Andre.
Andrea, sorry. It's just it said Alfonso, and I was like, I was just going for it. I'm going for it. Andre, how are we?
I'm fine. I'm good. I'm a new FE viewer, and I gotta say, I'm already in love with the sport. I love it.
And we're glad that you love it, and we're glad that you found us. We're also glad that you found us. What do you love about it? What has caught your eye? Why do you love the series so much?
I feel like this is so much chaotic than normal F1. You have a lot of more of overtakes. You have more red flags, more full course yellow. It's a lot more action-packed, I feel like. And the attack mode also makes it so that everybody really has an option to go and attack. It doesn't really matter. Like, you never see, or almost never see, for example, a Haas in a podium in F1. But here you can see anybody up there.
Yeah, it is incredible. It is incredible, isn't it, Pico? Like, it's just... that's why we love the series. It is chaotic. As you know what, we have the hard job of reporting on the series, right, and actually writing the news and race reports and so forth. So as someone who's new, who's kind of used to Formula One, you said you love the chaoticness, but how do you find the races to understand? Like, because in F1 you can kind of understand what's kind of happening. It kind of slowly, it builds and builds. And you can kind of see what's happening. In Formula E, that's so hard, and it feels so chaotic. Do you find it hard to digest what's going on, or is that just pure chaos part of the enjoyment of why you love it so much?
I think it's kind of part of the enjoyment, but I also don't really find it hard to understand it. I find that it's like almost any other racing, but you have the added of a lot of more overtakes and not all the different types of things, all the lockups.
Yeah.
The people just, for example, Buemi in this first corner just going through. It is something that you rarely see in F1, which happens here more, and I think that it adds more enjoyment, but doesn't make it like super hard to understand.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me, but
yeah, maybe I'm just not intelligent enough, Pico.
Yeah, no, you're not. This is why you teach 6-year-olds. There is quite a lot more that like goes into like this series, the whole like work, like having to, because I mean, like we saw it yesterday with like the peloton races, like they really have to strategize a lot more in Formula E than you do in Formula One, and that's like one of like the key aspects, especially now, because it used to be that like before they made all these changes to attack mode. So Andre, you won't know, but a few years attack mode was rubbish. It did not have the same impact that it does now. It was basically they went into a higher power mode and tried to conserve, and they didn't do anything for ages. But now with the 4-wheel drive added on, it's made a difference. She made the racing a lot better. But yeah, as you mentioned earlier, Jack, like strategists in Formula One, like we can all be sat here yelling at Ferrari for getting it wrong. But when you're in Formula E, yeah, it's very much a free for all.
Very much free for all indeed. So looking forward to
I
Miami
see that
then.
the
Have you picked a
performance
team? Have you picked a driver that you're supporting at this precise
Yes.
moment?
I discovered this around winter break, so there was no FE.
Yep.
But I went back and saw the first Sao Paulo, and I just decided to go with Citroën, and now I'm happy. I'm really happy.
Oh, you're going with Citroen. So Andre's a Citroen fan. So you must... Nick Cassidy, Jean-Eric Verne, like, you're like, straight away, like, yeah, they're the two. They're your two drivers. Cassidy did brilliant, though, didn't he? Like, I bet you were... Okay, so you tell me then. So when you were watching that race, did you think Nick Cassidy's going to win this? Did you think,
No.
Exactly, I told you, it's so
literally
hard.
had an argument. I had an argument with someone in the Formula E Discord,
Yep.
with them saying, "Yeah, I hope Cassidy wins. I think they got a shot." And I saw, I don't want to get my hopes up there because he's starting 13th, and I'm new to the series.
Yeah.
I don't know that this can happen so much that
Yeah.
you can escalate 13 places, like for example also Pepe Martin did.
Yep. No, for sure. Like it is incredible. Just how quickly you can go from point A to point B. But Andre, absolute pleasure having you on the show. Hopefully we'll see you for many more FE bars, and hopefully we'll hear from you in Miami.
Pleasure being here.
Pleasure.
I hope to see you guys as well.
Perfect.
Goodbye.
Perfect. Right. See you later. Thank you
you.
so much for coming on. He's gone. He's left. Wow, that's what I love about this show, is when you get those first time callers, right? And here he is. He's found us, and he's having his say on the series that he's fallen in love with. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying the chat. Taking the Mickey out of Formula One fans who don't know anything about Formula E.
Yeah,
So
I know. But you know what the annoying thing is?
keep that up. Keep that up, guys. You got
You
my
say-
seal of approval.
Yeah, but you know what the annoying thing is?
What?
FE have probably paid for them to do what they've done.
Oh, probably.
There's got to be some.
Yeah.
Because some of it is like, that stinks of FE. That stinks of FE. That stinks of them putting their nose in. Or can you do this? Or can you do this? And all of a sudden, we're seeing lots more people turn up.
Sorry, I'd just like to apologise. I've just seen how close I got to the camera. So I want to apologise for getting too close to the camera there. That was... No one needs to see that. Sorry, proceed.
I've pulled Seb in. Seb, hello, how are you?
So soon. I am doing well. Thank you very much.
Good.
How about you guys?
We're well. We're having a lovely show here at the moment. I think
good,
it's going all right. Everyone, and we got new people in.
When you
so-
said that, you sounded like you're about to cry.
You know
Are you sure it's going all
You know,
right?
you know what?
I'm
You-
not-
For me?
Right. You know when?
No, Jack.
You know when you move, right? So I move. You know, I've been sitting on the chair for a while. You give yourself a readjustment, and you know when your voice goes.
I do that all the time.
And you're speaking, but your voice kind of shifts because you're sort of like getting comfortable again. You're moving your legs, and your voice just goes a bit funny. And I was like, I did realise that I said that a little bit funnily, but I'm making up words now.
Yeah.
But it's one of those.
Funnely's a word. I swear, funnely's a
I
word.
don't know. It just doesn't sound right when I say it.
Funnely's a word, yeah.
Yeah, it just didn't sound. It just didn't sound right when I said it. It's just one of those things. Anyhow, Seb, what would you like to speak about?
I know it's been touched on a lot this evening, but my delusions are back. They're stronger than ever. Nick Cassidy, bros, this is our year. I swear it is this time. I swear it is. Please, it has to be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so hard to say that he's going to be the world champion.
Look,
the
the delusions don't lie.
Yeah.
Right, we'll just forget the other previous times, right? This time, they're correct.
This time they're correct. I've been surprised because I think we all have a lot of expectation around Nick Cassidy, and the qualifyings for Sao Paulo and in Mexico weren't great, but he understands the pack racing, even on Sao Paulo where it's not as bad as Berlin and some of the other Shanghai and other places that we go to. But it doesn't matter that it might be slightly harder to overtake on those places. He gets it done. And he's got it done twice. And you're like, fair play. And you just think, because, as I said earlier, Buemi is, put it on pole and no one would have expected that. That means, if he can keep the car in the right window, he can push on and why not secure the championship? Yeah, you call it delusional, but at the same time, is it?
I mean, I mainly just say this because I've been hurt before because of Nick Cassidy. Like, I still have nightmares about London 2023.
Oh.
Like, I'm still not over that.
Yeah, understandable, really.
If this year is our year, I'd be very happy. But I agree with what you said. I mean, Nick Cassidy is an amazing driver. He's like, I mean, I'm very biased when I say that, but actually saying objectively, he is one of the smartest drivers on the grid. He is objectively probably will have a legacy in Formula E as one of the best who's raced on the grid because of how
100%.
he reads races. But I don't think the Stellantis package is quite at the very front, like Porsche's or like Nissan, like the Jaguars, even though Jaguars have had terrible luck.
Yeah.
So if he manages to pull off a championship fight, that would be great. But actually taking the title this year, it will be a tough ask.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it'd be insane.
Yeah, when you interviewed him and I stood behind the camera, Jack, in Valencia, he said that he didn't really care about this year. He was focusing on Gen 4.
He didn't say that as such, though. Like he did.
Well, no.
Behind what he said, he probably did. Right behind what he said, but he didn't say that.
When you read between the lines, like a journalist does.
Yeah.
He said that he's focusing on Gen 4 and like. Yeah, and so he's putting everything into that. Yeah. And so I think that's what makes everything that's happened so far a little bit more, bit more interesting and exciting because we weren't expecting this from him whatsoever. So, I think like we all know how damn good Nick Cassidy is, and we have waxed lyrical, not just in the show, but for the last couple of years or so. But I think I'm very much in the if he does, that would be amazing if he pulled it off, but I would be very kind of surprised, but it wouldn't surprise me if he's still there or thereabouts.
If he's still in mathematical contention.
Yeah, if he's I reckon he'll still be in contention minimum Shanghai. Probably I reckon he'll be in contention in Tokyo as well, and then
that will be the decider
whether it goes to London or not is another. I mean, last year I said last year one of my bold predictions was six people would be in the fight coming into London, and I got that spectacularly wrong. So
Seb, I wanna ask, if he's gone to this Citroen move for Gen 4, right? And he knows that this is a transitional year, but he is this good. If Citroen are able to challenge Porsche, because we assume Porsche are going to be up there, could it be scary for Formula E that Cassidy could go away and dominate Formula E? Could that happen?
I mean, from a personal point of view, I'd be all for that.
I know.
But even then, I don't think Formula E should be scared of a dominant champion, because at the end of the day, the racing product by itself is still attracting people. It's still one of the best one-track products there is. Even if Cassidy is a dominant champion in a possible future I pray for,
Yeah.
I don't think that'd be a bad thing, because everything else around said dominant championship campaign will still be one of the most entertaining forms of motorsport out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like personally, I mean, I think I've rose-tinted glasses because I grew up during this era, and I know that Formula E will be absolutely loving all the comparisons to Formula One we're doing this evening.
Yeah.
But even like in the years where Sebastian Vettel was dominant in 2011 and 2013 in Formula One, they were still really decent years in terms of competitiveness. You still kind of went into a weekend going, well, it might not be Seb. It could, yeah. Fernando had a good chance. Lewis, Jensen, Mark, Felipe. We love you, Felipe, but yeah, you still kind of went into a weekend and like this. Yeah, you're still gonna get a good race, good weekend out of it. Even when the championship, like we all knew Seb was going to win ages before that he actually did in those 2 years. So yeah. And yeah, Chris has just said in chat, IndyCar Palau this year. Yeah, Alex Palau won so many races this year, and yet you're still watching because it's so exciting.
Yeah, as long as
on the IndyCar point, actually, sorry, I interrupted you, Jack.
It's all right,
what were you going to say?
I can't remember now. You go on.
I do have I surprisingly have a non-Cassidy thing to talk about, because it was a thought that came up whilst I was listening to the show earlier.
Yep.
About Grand Prix venues with Gen 4. Obviously, now we know a lot more about the specs of Gen 4.
Yep.
We know the regen's going to be better. We know it's going to be more powerful. It's going to be overall a better car.
Yep.
In terms of Grand Prix venues, first of all, I think FE should definitely push for Zandvoort, because all the news that's come around about trying to get Zandvoort for next year.
I think that
would be great.
That I think is definitely something that is being looked into for sure.
Yeah.
That is being.
I'm certain it's been looked into, but from what I understand, Formula E want it more than Zandvoort do. So Formula E are trying to force the door open there.
Always unloved, aren't we? Formula E is always unloved.
On the IndyCar point, if we take the Grand Prix venue name a bit more broadly, why don't we look at IndyCar venues? I mean, I'd love a return to Long Beach, and they can definitely handle the full Grand Prix venue. And you know what? This may be a hot take.
Mm-hmm.
Since we know regen's gonna be better in Gen 4, let's go back to Portland. I like Portland. I think it's a good circuit. I think it could work for Gen 4.
No doubt. I'd rather Long Beach than Portland.
I'd say, and I know we haven't seen it yet, but Arlington that's coming on the calendar this season. I think it's round 2 or 3. It's around the Dallas Cowboys Stadium.
Round 3. I have an IndyCar calendar up right now because I was trying to remind myself of IndyCar circuits.
Yeah.
But we got where do we race in America? I've forgotten.
What,
Miami.
Where Formula E
Miami, that's what it's going out of my head.
I think for me,
I was there last year.
It's the next race, Jack.
Yeah, let me just
look
plug
at
my
your
book.
calendar.
Let me just go back.
Look at the book that you've made that you're telling everyone to buy.
Oh my god, it just went out of my head. Sorry.
Guys, buy the book.
Buy the book.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, but we got Miami. It's like I understand that they want a second race in America, but what I think, for me, Long Beach comes over Portland, and Pico picked up on this.
Long Beach easy over Portland any day.
But even so,
I mean, I agree. I mean, I just also like Portland.
Yeah, I get that, but Pico will go back. I love the phrase "sexy cities," and LA is a sexier city than
Long Beach is basically LA. It's just it's
LA, right? So it's Los Angeles. You could even
Yeah.
call it the Los Angeles E-Prix if you didn't want to call it the Long
Yeah.
Beach E-Prix, right?
But if you do want a proper central Los Angeles around the Dodgers Stadium, easy.
So
Whatever happened with that idea anyway? Because it was being
So
hyped
many
up for like
car
months,
parks.
and then we heard nothing ever again.
Yeah. I don't know, but they need to get on that because that'd be such a good venue.
Megan says, hold on, people. Megan says which
I
book?
am, I'm on it.
Megan says which book?
There we go.
This is
There
our
we
Formula
go.
E Stat Tracker Race Predictor book that we have made
done it
in
again.
conjunction with Carl from Current Lap, who is in the waiting room. I'll get him in a minute to talk about it. But you can track.
Nothing about Mexico will be spoken about. I'll just be talking
Yeah,
about
talk about the book.
once we get
So
going.
I've tracked the qualifying. You can track the qualifying, the race positions, which I haven't actually filled in yet. But you've got them for all the races. And for those people who are new, like Andre, we've got a little bit of a guide about the teams and the drivers. So it's on Amazon, !book. If you want to pick it up. It is sold worldwide. Thank you very much. Back off the book. Seb, I am going to let you go, actually, because we've got still quite a few people to get through. Thank you so much for coming on, though, and I'm sure we'll chat again around Nick Cassidy in the future.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and hopefully Oliver Rowland gets another win.
Yes,
sometime
I was
soon.
going to say, I was like, hold on, you've changed allegiances here, because I was like, you're an Oliver Rowland fan, right?
I
now
cannot
we're
wait.
talking
I
about Cassidy.
love
cannot
Oliver
wait for
Rowland,
Rowland
but I also
versus-
love
I
Nick
don't-
Cassidy.
I don't. Is this allowed? We need to be like football teams. I feel like if you've got a drive,
I
you can't
cannot wait
switch.
for Roland versus Cassidy, London 26. It's
Yep.
Seb's biggest dilemma.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But Seb, thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming on.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Right. We've got a new caller. I do want to get them on, but as I've talked about the book, let's get Kyle on.
Yeah,
Kyle.
let's talk about the book.
Kyle, how
Hello.
are you, my friend?
I'm
Thank
good. How are you?
I'm good. You sound tired.
I'm good.
Oh, I think that might be the microphone sensitivity. I might be tired. I might not. But just let me know if it's too loud.
Nah, you're
'cause,
good. You're good.
no,
You're
no.
good. You're good.
Okay.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. And
So,
and I did mention at the top of the show, but thank you for filling in for me in Sao Paulo.
No worries. Thanks for the opportunity. It was great fun. It's what birthed the book, really. We had me and Jack had like a late night conversation after it, and then I was like, "Why are you here, Jack?" I was like, "I've got this idea," and then boom, we sort of came up with it. So
Megan's ordered it, Kyle.
nice
Jeez.
one. That's what we like to
Thank
hear.
you very much, Megan. We hope you enjoy it as much as we did putting it together. But yeah, honestly, I think we're both very, 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 very happy with how it came out. But how did you find Mexico? And did you use it? I did. Look, I did. I used it. Look, it's been. Oh, that's the wrong way. Look, used.
Yeah, I'm very proud of you, Jack. You used it for the data side of it. I was actually out yesterday. I was doing some work, so I got back for the race, but not the qualifying session. But I did use it for the prediction side, and it was very useful. But yeah, Mexico. I wasn't expecting that race. Obviously, I knew it was going to be a bit of a peloton, which I actually still don't mind the peloton. I love seeing them all together. It makes it look like there isn't too much of a technical difference between all the vehicles, which sort of gives the edge that anyone can win it, and we know that's true, isn't it? So, but yeah, great race. I thought it was okay without the chicane. Yeah, but I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, it was a really good race, and it shows, as you kind of mentioned, that anything can happen, right, in Formula E. And I know, Pico, you say all the time, you can't predict Formula E, right? And as you said, like, I don't know who in your predictor series that you did, and I'm sure none of you predicted Buemi for pole position.
I had him as Energized Driver, but only because I was like, I want to promote the middle teams, and obviously anyone who doesn't watch my show, Energized Driver is kind of like who you want to do the best on the weekend. But we scored him 0 in the end because of the blunder at the start of the race. So, but you know, it was good to see Barnard and him.
He was
I can't-
rapid all day till that point.
But he was still
I think
rapid
he was
in the race.
quickest in P2. Like he topped the group. He got pole through a technicality, sure, but he was on it every single lap that he did that day.
Yeah.
And then obviously that blunder happened, but before he got that puncture, he was P6.
Yeah, he had fought all the way back, and it was, to be honest with you, watching it from the TV screens, right, the Buemi start, it was an aggressive start. Both Barnard and Buemi got off very quickly.
Taylor had a better start.
Yeah,
easy.
And then, but I don't think Buemi had a bad one either. But then it was the aggressive defense to sort of say, well, you know, I'm going to come across you here, mate, and you've got nowhere to go, so back out of it, son. Right, that was basically what Buemi was saying, but in Buemi saying that, he forgot to put the brake down, which caused him to go. But
I was gutted for him, really, and it just looked so slow getting back onto the track, and watching all 18 other cars just fly past must be so painful for him.
Yeah, but again, you know, he very quickly recovered, and if it wasn't for the puncture, he would have scored points. So yes, he got 0, but I think his recovery rate goes unnoticed because of the puncture that he had. Because he was like 8th, 6th, 7th, 8th when he had to pull into the pits, and you're like, how did he do that? And he was just cutting through the field, but it's one of those days. It just shows, right? And then it goes back to, you know, you've got a driver like Buemi who in an Envision, right? They're sometimes good, sometimes not so good. But when they're good, you know, Buemi can pull it out, and then they've got Joel Eriksson as a teammate, and this is where we were like, he hasn't really massively shown much. You know, Buemi's pretty much on pole and he's down in like 18th, and you're like, you can't have that, right? So now I'm like, right, if Buemi can put these performances in, you've got to expect more, I think, from Joel Eriksson.
Yeah, where did he come? Because I was literally just trying to find out where he came. Because him and like Gunther are the ones that seem to just disappear into the ratings, and they do pretty well sometimes.
Yeah.
Check your books. No, I know that you haven't written it, Jack.
Eurus. I haven't written it down. No, actually, I did write.
Yeah, hang on. I'll get up on the app.
I think he's a couple of places higher than.
I think Joel Eriksson came 14th.
Yeah, I think it was around that. Yeah, mid-table. But in terms of, so now I'm just thinking, you know, you've got to expect
14th.
more.
Hang on.
Yeah, you've got to expect more from drivers like that.
Yeah, can I throw a point in that I noticed when watching the pre-show for the race was Dan Ticktum was in an interview with Idris Elba, and Dan said, "Well, don't worry, because my colleague's further down the road," implying about Nick De Vries. But I still think that Dan's race went downhill because of Nick De Vries, and I know this is a butterfly effect, but if the safety car hadn't have come out, they wouldn't have been batched together again. And then when my good friend Antonio Felix Acosta does a pinch move on Jev, I think it was, which then just pushed him out into no man's land. Yeah. So I still think that there was a butterfly effect, and it was Nick De Vries.
Let's talk actually, because we actually haven't spoken much about the incident, and I know I wanted to get people's opinions, and I know Ricardo is in the chat in the waiting room, so we'll definitely get his Da Costa vibes in a moment. But as a Da Costa fan, you know, we've analysed it. We're going to have a video coming out on Tuesday where we analyse the incident. I said at the top of the show, actually, I'm shocked that he didn't get a penalty. I don't think he needs a big penalty. A 5-second penalty or a 3-place grid drop for Miami would have sufficed, because I do understand where the stewards have come from, where the mitigating circumstances of, you know, Cassidy trying to overtake him, he's trying to overtake. But for me, I can't sit here and go, it's acceptable to T-bone another driver, right? So if you've T-boned another driver, we can't just say, I'm sorry, mate, I was trying to overtake this guy and I've T-boned you, don't give me a penalty. But then I feel like the stewards have now set up saying, so if I was to T-bone you in a race, Kyle, but I was trying to overtake Pico, that's acceptable because Da Costa did it.
Do you think he'd ever bring up Jeddah? I think it was round 3 when it kind of happened to him when he was at Porsche.
Yeah, yep, I do remember.
You know, like some drivers go tit for tat. It happened to me.
Was it Gunther? I think it might have actually.
I think it was actually Gunther.
It was Gunther.
I think it was actually Gunther.
It was Gunther that hit him. Yeah,
it was the second race. It was the second race.
It was Gunther that hit him on the.
But
no, that was on lap 1, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, watching it back, especially the highlights really highlight this as well, is obviously when he pushed Roland off, I think it was Da Costa, it was. When he pushed him off, it was the same corner.
Yep.
Like, and I know in that instant it was 4-1, I think is what the commentary team was saying. But, like, surely you've got a little gut feeling going, that was a bit close, should probably be more wary next time.
Yeah.
and then obviously Kabam, and obviously being a fan, it's just I'm more to be honest, it's just seeing Jag with no points, like, and it's even worse that Lowly Yamaha have 1 point, like, you know, it's Jag, like, it's just like it just feels like
it is quite
big
surreal. I
hike to
mean,
get back.
I didn't realize, and then when someone put it in chat earlier today, that's when I first realized, and I had no idea. I genuinely reckon I went to check it just to be like, oh, it's true.
It's only 2 races though. There's still plenty of action.
Yeah,
to go.
anything can change. I keep saying
it
a
might
double
be
header
this,
can just.
this time last year, Cass was pointless as well.
Yeah,
so
you know.
yes, Evans had the win in Sao Paulo, but that felt like it wasn't matching of where Jaguar's pace was at that point. So, I mean, it's Formula E. You'd be stupid to write anyone at this point. But we've only had 2 races. There's still 14 to go. Is there 16 or 17?
15, I think, to go, isn't there?
So 17
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure if there was 17 or 16 races this year, because I know it's somewhere around there. But
I'll just make one more point, and then you can invite someone else to have a chat. One thing I did enjoy, and it gave me Tokyo vibes, was the 5 fighting for not the win, but they were so close together in those last couple of laps. And obviously Cassidy didn't have attack mode and was defending like it was a castle. It was fantastic. Just to see 5 constructors, 5 different drivers. And it was that sort of back to Tokyo last year where, you know, it was really close and you didn't know who was going to come on top. Even like Shanghai, those races where at the end you don't know. And you're on the edge of your seat. And obviously I know that we talk about the peloton and you sort of build up to the go point. But when it hits the go point, that's when it's like really exciting and you just don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. It was a very good race. I do think it was up there for one of the better races that Formula E have had. But Carl, thank you so much for coming on and having a chat with us. I really appreciate it. And
buy the book.
Yeah, buy the book. I'm glad you guys say it as much as I do, but yeah, it was a great thing to do over Christmas. Me and Jack put a lot of hours into it, and it was difficult, but also quite easy, and we did it because we enjoyed it. So I guess it's all panned out really well.
Yeah, it has. I mean, it says everyone so far. All I've had is been very positive reviews from people who have purchased it and who have looked through it. So that means the world. So if you are to purchase it, do send us a picture in Discord, !Discord if you haven't already joined the Discord, and show us, because we'd love to hear it. And love to see it.
And get involved with the next one if you did purchase it, because that's what we want. We want to build this around you lot in the community. So and hello chat. I don't know if I said hi.
Yeah. So here are the contributors. So obviously Current Lap. Go and subscribe to Current Lap as well. But we have it here, and then if you go here, there's a little QR code where you'll get a special video. Right, where you can help us make this even better.
Everyone's going to screenshot that video.
Yeah. Just a video.
Everywhere, everyone.
Don't need to buy the book anymore.
No, you don't. You can't. You only get a video.
If you've ordered it, cancel it.
But you'll be able to.
Oh, someone said that we should stock it at the museum. Do you know? I'll have a word with managers.
Oh, imagine.
We'll see if we can. See if we can get it in. I'll do signed
copies.
Old, Jack. I'll do signed copies, even though I did zero but with this book. It was just you two. I did nothing about the book, but
you were there in spirit.
I'll sign a few
we knew that you would need it in London. Yeah. When you're doing your grid walk, you can have it in your hands. Exactly. You can be the poster boy.
Yeah, nice to speak to you, Edda. You finished in Tokyo free practice 2.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Perfect. Right, Carl, we'll let you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you soon.
See you guys around.
Right, ciao. Right, I want to bring Bingo in. I'm sure that's not their name, but
don't sing, because I was about to. You
do realise I have to sing this nursery rhyme all the time, and it's the kids' favourite. Right,
I know.
Right, it's the kids' favourite.
You work with 6-year-olds, so
3-year-olds. I used to work with 6-year-olds.
You work with 3-year-olds?
Yeah, I'm in nursery at the minute. That's why I'm singing
Oh,
nursery rhymes,
oh,
mate.
Jesus.
I know. I'm killing myself somehow, but let's get Bingo in. And then we'll wrap through the last couple of calls. Bingo, I'm assuming that is not your name, but that is your Discord name. What is your actual name? Thank you for being part of the on the FE bar. And what
We
would you like
can
to
call
say?
you Bingo if you really want
We'd
to.
prefer your actual name, but it'd be a bit awkward calling you Bingo.
No. It's funny enough. This is actually Taylor from Circuit Breakers. I don't have
hello,
like a.
Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my first time on the show with y'all. I'm so
Yes.
excited. You have been, amazing forces in this. I mean, I was listening to the podcast back when I first started listening to Formula E in like 18 or 19.
Yeah.
And
God, those were the days.
Wow, you're
when
a
you guys
proper
had
OG.
the full, yeah.
You've
yo.
taken this long to
yeah,
get
I
here,
mean,
mate.
Yeah, we mentioned at the top of the show our terrible COVID haircuts, but you might actually remember them.
I think I was in the exact same boat of it, so it was invisible to me for the most part.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We all got used to our bad hairstyles.
That's it. Yeah.
So, what would you like to talk about, Taylor?
Yeah, I think it's been interesting that from everyone I've heard talking about this, no one's really talking that much about Mahindra, and I know I'm kind of like a maniac in that I have been a big proponent of Mahindra for this season. And Nick DeVries is like Looney Tunes, right?
Yeah.
He's all over the place. But I was quietly predicting that Mortara was going to be this like pretty critical force, and I think it's been interesting to see like the ups and downs. And what do you all think about the performance gap that's actually happening between the two of them at that team?
Pico, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because the thing is I think Nick DeVries is a very quick driver, and I don't think that is what he's like. It's just that he occasionally makes the odd silly mistake. I mean, we saw that in Jakarta last year when he could have, would have, should have won the pre, and then cut Jake Dennis off, and it meant that he eventually retired from the race a few laps later. Dennis had a problem as well, which meant that he retired from the race. But yeah, so with Nick DeVries, and he is he was the first world champ. All the champions before that were just champions. But yeah, so yeah, Nick obviously won the season 7 title, and we know that he is a damn quick driver.
Yeah,
But
I do always think this too, is like Nick kind of won that championship out of attrition, because like that was the craziest season finale of all time, where every possible winner basically lost in front of Nick DeVries, right? In like the most like critical and devastating way possible, including Eduardo Mortara, right? Like his teammate. So I think what do you all see as the trajectory for Nick DeVries going forward? Because I think like this has got to be rattling him a little bit to finally have a power unit in a car, especially after being in F1 and getting booted and all of that mental strain that he's been kind of put through. Do you see him bouncing back, or do you see him kind of continuing to make these silly mistakes and errors while Mahindra really needs people to step up? Because like they did just get Jake Hughes as a reserve driver. And I'm wondering, like, do you all think that Nick DeVries will continue like with this team going forward if he can't have those results?
Well, both of them are out of contract at the end of the season, so that's also an
important. I don't think there's anything. There's no such thing as a safe seat in Formula E, and so you're only as good as your last race. So he will need to prove that he is there or thereabout. But even then, last season, him and Edo Mortara were so close. I think they finished 7th and 8th in the championship, and I've forgotten which way round it was. I think Nick actually did just beat Edo, but it was still ridiculously close. They
both had a good season last season,
but
right?
If I were to bet on one of those two drivers, I'd say Edo is the more consistent one.
Yes, I think,
and that's who I'd put first.
I'd agree, right? But you can't rule out Nick DeVries. Yes,
100%.
Qualifying in, he made the mistake, hands up, in Sao Paulo, right, and cost the team. Still managed to pick up a couple of points. Qualifying was a bit of a problem, so obviously something must have gone wrong. But Eduardo Mortara has proved that the pace is there, and it was a good race from Mortara. I still think Mahindra have got a lot of learning to do, because they do have a car, they do have the pace to win races this season and be title contenders. But when I interviewed Frederick Bertrand, they said they need to learn how to win, right? And once they've learned how to win, then things might click into place. And they haven't won yet. And honestly, I thought they were going to win in Mexico, because I was shocked, really, that Eduardo Mortara was unable to pass Cassidy in the final few stages of the race. And obviously there must have been some sort of battery management or something happened, but he should have won that race, Eduardo Mortara. And then you're like, okay, your eyes are beginning to open again to Mahindra, and I think they are still open. But what I mean by that is, if Mortara would have won, we could have Mahindra here, but they haven't won yet. So until they win, I don't know if you can call them a title contender, because they seem to be just so close, right? But not quite crossing that line. So with Nick de Vries, I am sure going into Miami, he'll be there or thereabouts again, because we saw it in Jakarta. He could have easily won in that Jakarta race had the failure didn't win. So on his day, Nick de Vries it can do it, right? It's just he's had the bad luck. Look at Dan Ticktum. Dan Ticktum arguably could have 18, 15, 25 points. I'm not saying he should have won, but he could have accumulated some points.
No, over the two races,
over
he
the
could
two
have easily
races,
had 25
right?
points.
But he's on 0 just because of bad luck, right? And you make your own luck, and Nick de Vries could have had a good strategy that got himself points, but the car breaks down on him. That's just unlucky. So I don't think Nick de Vries should be sitting here panicking, thinking, I'm not going to, I might lose my seat. I've got, Mortara's performing so much better than me. It's just circumstance. He just needs to get his head down and perform, basically, when we go to Miami. So for me, I understand your point, Taylor, that, there is a bit of a discrepancy at the moment. I do think there is a small discrepancy between the two, but they are very closely matched. And Eduardo Mortara has got a lot of experience, despite Nick de Vries being a world champion. But Mortara's been in it since season 4, and has always shown that he is a good driver, and he's got the car this season to fight for a championship. And I think the driver that out of those two that will fight for a championship between Nick and Edo is Edo, because I do think you are right. Nick makes these errors from time to time, and that will cost him in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other part of Mahindra that I think is so interesting is, we talked about this, the difference between Formula E and Formula One is Formula E is so crunchy, right? Strategically, it is so crunchy.
Yeah.
And what you have to account for in order to win is every possible variable. And Mahindra has never really been in that position for going on 8. They're completely out of what it means to win, like you had mentioned with Frederick Bertrand. But I think that there is potentially that opportunity for growth. And unfortunately, it's at the end of this generation cycle. I don't think Mahindra ever does very well in the transition of a generation. So we'll have to see what Gen 4 looks like.
I do,
but I'm mostly just excited that they've had the growth here to at least make it to Gen 4, because I know it was such a risky time for them, and they are kind of a staple in this team, and they're a perpetual underdog for the most part.
I can't remember who I was having this conversation with, but I was having a conversation with someone about Mahindra, and if this season is a big season, right, for Edo and Nick, because with the delayed announcement for Gen 4, I don't know how quick they'll be. I don't know how much catching up they'll have to do. You assume they're already on the back foot, right, going into Gen 4, and so therefore for Mortara and Nick, I personally don't see them fighting for a title next season, because Mahindra missed the first test in Monte Blanco to test the Gen 4 car, so they have, I don't know if they've built their powertrain yet, or they must be in the process of building their powertrain. So they're so far behind the likes of Porsche, and you can't be behind Porsche. You can't start behind Porsche, and you can't start behind Nissan, and you can't start behind Jaguar and expect to then be there come the start, unless Jaguar or one of those teams have gone terribly wrong, and that's the only massive question mark going into Gen 4. So, going back to that point, this season's a big season for Mahindra, and you're right. I am, going into that Gen 4 process. The conversation that I was having, to go back to that point I was saying, was I'm surprised they didn't back Frederick earlier. And I think the Mahindra board are the ones that are at fault here. Because Fred has shown he's taken that team from the back of the grid to the front of the grid, right? And the board should have seen that and gone, actually, Mahindra are going to be in a good place with him in charge, right? But they didn't back it. To me, they didn't back him, right? So
no, they didn't, and that's it's a frank shame.
Yeah, I fully agree. It is a shame because he deserved to be back. The progress that they were making was brilliant. And if Mahindra are last on the grid next season, because we talk about Lola Yamaha being at the back, but you have to remember they've started their Gen 4 stuff long time ago, right? So they knew they came into this as a 2-year kind of set. They put their stall out for Gen 4. So we can't sit here and say Lola Yamaha are going to be at the back. No, they could, they've got Mark Preston as their team principal, who's won championships, who has won the most amount of championships in the series. Therefore, you can't go, oh, Lola's a backmarker team, because they've got a man who's been there, done it, and won it. So, if Mahindra at the back again, I feel for Fred, because all that hard work, everything that he's put in, it's gone. It could be gone.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
Absolutely.
Perfect. I feel like I've taken up the time there, but Taylor.
No, it's been amazing. Thank you all for having me. I've always wanted to try to get into the conversations with you all, but you're all such amazing commentators. Honestly, SB10 was the one who suggested that I get in here as soon as possible. So
brilliant.
You show us the SB10. So we'll catch you up all as soon as possible, and we look forward to Miami. Hopefully, nothing weird changes with that.
Very quickly,
I will say,
whereabouts are you in America?
Oh, I am in Seattle, Washington. So furthest.
So did you go to Portland?
Pacific Northwest. Oh, I went to Portland every year. I understand where everyone's at with Portland, but also I've been at that race every single year, and it's so amazing how many people are there. The community comes out to that. And it's the thing with U.S. races is you have to think about the United States as basically 50 different small countries. And all of them are radically different politically, environmentally, whatever it might be. So if you were to hold a race in Seattle, people would probably show up to it because we're a huge, green, eco-forward, we love unique and innovative stuff. Portland is exactly the same way. Pretty much the whole West Coast is pretty good for those things. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But also I say this because it's something that I think a lot of Americans are stressed out about right now. Is I don't know if Miami would happen. I mean, you look at what happened when Russia invaded Ukraine and they just pulled the entire Russian race. Yeah. So I think a lot of I'm not going to speak for everyone. I know myself personally, we feel a little held hostage and stressed out on what the future of our racing and country might look like. Yeah. So we're just hopeful that we don't not have any U.S. races because of things that are completely out of our control as fans.
Okay, for sure. Taylor, definitely come back on. Circuit Breakers.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
Circuit Breakers pod. People, make sure you.
we are. Well, I will say we are a very different show. We're definitely more of a fan, silly kind of commentating show. But that's just because that's what my community loves most is the kind of wacky antics of Formula E, and we definitely treat it kind of as much an amazing spectacle as it is kind of a circus, which is what makes it so special comparatively. So that's what we love.
Yeah, thank you. Amazing. Thank you for coming on, and we'll speak to you soon.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
See you later. All right, bye.
Cheers.
What an amazing chat that was. I really enjoyed that. I feel for Chris, and I feel for Connor, and I feel for Ricardo, because that was a long chat. One, it was good for Mahindra, and we'll probably clip that up and put that on as a video. So I did want to continue the conversation. But these boys in the waiting room,
they've been waiting long enough.
I know they've been waiting long enough, and we will get.
Who's going to be first?
We will get you on, but I just wanted to give you a shout out.
You're all coming on, don't worry.
Because
no one else come in. I need to go to the booth.
Yeah, but we just want to say you boys are amazing, and we love your continued support. But we had 2 new people in today, and I do want to get the new ones in and make sure that everyone is included. I'm gonna go with Connor. Connor, you are on the FE. Yeah, no, it's your turn. I know.
It's my turn.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, let me go and pause the YouTube stream, so I've not
fine.
got 2 of you in my ear.
Thank you for waiting as well.
One of us is bad enough.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, not 4 of you. Bloody hell.
What would you like to talk about?
I'd like to talk about. So we haven't had too much about him, and we've mentioned a couple times, but a certain young Spaniard by the name of Pepe Marti.
Yes, go on then.
Pepe Marti.
From the Costa del Southampton.
Costa del Southampton. Because I think, obviously, I think the strategy when you get a 60-place grid penalty and, have to start at the back and then do a drive-through, and you're 20 seconds or 40 seconds behind everyone else before the race is even going, is what they did. And I think that where you just sit there and you save energy and you conserve. And I think the difference is if the same race happened, but they still had David Beckman in the car.
Yep.
And I do like David. He's a nice chap. But if David Beckman was in that car, David Beckman finishes last of the runners.
Okay, yeah.
Same scenario. Safety car comes out. Field gets bunched up.
I can't remember what we called it in London when he scored points.
Yeah. We're not getting day points or whatever. But we got Pep points. Yeah. He drove his way through the field. Sure, he probably had a bit more energy to use than the people around him, but he used the energy well. He was able to make his way through, and he got the points. And even last week, Ostrus. The last race.
It has happened.
I know.
It happened back in Season 3, was it, where it was Monaco and Paris back to back?
Yep. I went.
Like that, yeah.
I went.
It's
I
basically
did both.
the same country.
Yeah.
I did both. I remember that.
It is basically the same country.
That was good
yeah.
fun. I remember. I was such a young pup back then, going to all these races. Yeah. To be honest with you, I've been really.
But even before he tried to go to space.
Yeah.
In Sao Paulo, he was looking good for points there as well, wasn't he?
Indeed. And
so
he thought it was well back for it, and obviously he qualified near the back as well that day. But his race pace was really good race pace again. This is what you want from a rookie, right? So I go back to the Pepe Marti, Joel Eriksson kind of scenario here. Despite Pepe Marti crashing and going to space, as you say, he has had a much better start to the season than Joel Eriksson has had, right? And that's what you want. You want your rookie to catch your eye, because then you're like, because people will come in and, well, who's this Pepe Marti kid? Well, people obviously knew who this Pepe Marti kid was from F2, but then you look at his F2 stats, you're like, not much has happened massively. Okay, he's got the Cooper Association. So, and all of a sudden you're like, well, why is he here? But then you need to show us why you're here. And I think over these first 2 races, right, he's shown us that he is fully deserved to be in this championship. And if I'm a team principal and I've got an old driver in my car, Envision, for example, and I know that Cooper Curiosity is very interesting because that could have a brand new Porsche powertrain, right, going into next season, right? But for whatever reason, if they're not the same, or they're not powered with Porsche, and you're thinking, I like the look at Pepe Marti, that all of a sudden people go, okay, this is a guy. Because I don't think there's any team principals at this precise moment looking at Joel Eriksson and saying, I might sign you if you get dropped by Envision.
Yeah, sorry, Joel, but that's not happening. It kind of feels like he's maybe kind of warming the seat, as it were, keeping it warm.
Yeah, maybe
for the year, and then
Maybe.
Um,
Like,
but-
I don't want to, because I know Formula E people and I know drivers watch this show and watch stuff that we do. And it's not like I have anything against
This is
Joel
a joke,
Eriksson,
by the way.
right?
We've been told that they do.
Yeah, right.
So,
It's not like.
Joel, I'm sorry. I
It's
love
not,
you.
but what I mean is, I'm not here slagging off Joel Eriksson, because I know Joel Eriksson is a solid driver, right? But what I mean is now, as I said earlier, with Buemi being on pole and you being I've now got to see something from you, because that car is showing that it's got pace, it's got something in there if you can unlock it. So I need you to start unlocking it. Whereas Pepe Marti has come in, been as quick as Dan in some places, right? And in some moments. Right?
And we know how quick Dan Ticktum is.
Exactly. And that's when you're like, oh, right, this kid's good, right? This kid is good. He should stay in the series, right? And he's someone to look out for. So I generally think Pepe Marti has had a brilliant start and needs to obviously continue in that fashion, cut out the mistakes, get a little bit better at qualifying. But that will come over time. But as I said...
I'd also say that maybe, going into a race... Did they go into qualifying, like, sort of knowing that he'd have a 60-place grid penalty?
Yes.
So maybe it was kind of just, he went out there because he has to set a lap time, but it wasn't.
But like the Jake Hughes of this world, the Taylor Barnards of this world, they get in a duel.
Yeah.
Right? Get in a duel. At some point this season, get in the duels. And then everyone will go, he's good, right? And no one will complain. Right, no one will go, oh, why is he on the grid, and so forth. I think that has to be a mini target for Pepe. I think is that's the first target, get into a duel.
Because it does feel like his teammate. I mean, not to keep bucking on that TikTok, but it does feel like he gets into the duels, like every race, he's like there. So yeah.
I was surprised he got in the duels, I must admit, because he was in Group B. Where's my book? He was in Group B, right? So he was in Group B, and he finished second in Group B. But if you remember on his qualifying lap, he went wide and he had to abandon it, and he was one of the first. And you just assumed that.
Oh yeah, I remember. Because I said in, I can't remember if it was in this Discord or another Discord server. I put in the chat.
Discord?
He's gonna stick it in the wall here. After I saw the first lap and I saw him building up for the second lap, I was like, he's going to stick it in the wall here, and he very nearly did.
Yeah. And
you could tell in the duels, when he went into turn one in the duels, he very much, I don't want to say backed off, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, he's always pushing at 100%.
Yeah.
He's always pushing, but because he wants it so much, I think, Dan, he wants to be at the front, and obviously they all do, but like, and also you have to remember they are slightly handicapped. We have to remember this. You cannot forget that
2
they
years
are
old
running.
powertrain, isn't it?
Well, technically, yes, is the answer. Right? So you can't remember that they are slightly handicapped, but so both of them are doing an incredible job, because really and truly they should slide backwards this season as everyone else progresses, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So there are hopes, and there definitely are hopes for more Dan Ticktum points, because I know we've got Dan Ticktum fans and podiums, and maybe we will see that Pepe Marti even maybe get a podium if he continues.
The Pep Podium.
The Pep Podium. Chris, Connor, sorry,
Chris?
Sorry, so many Chris's. Connor, we'll leave it there. But thank you so much.
Before you take me out, boo Google Gemini, boo. We don't like AI. Boo.
Up the Gemini, up the Gemini, telling me false information. Up the Gemini.
Okay, bye bye. I'll see you in when is it 31st, end of the month, isn't it?
31st.
Yeah,
I'll see you at the end of the month.
3 weeks to Miami.
So see you at the beginning of the month when we do Miami. But
Oh yeah, I get that's.
We'll be in the Discord. That's the beauty of the Discord. You can chat to us there. That's why if you're not in the Discord, get in there. But we'll talk to you soon.
All right, cheers, guys.
See you later.
See you. Bye bye.
Right, I'm going to end with Ricardo because he went on the show yesterday. So we're ending.
That's
with
fair.
Ricardo.
That's fair.
Chris.
How are we doing, Jen?
I'm good. Yourself?
Hi, Chris.
I'm doing all right.
Good. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, sorry. I've just seen Chris Wharton's come up with. He loves doing promo for the book. He has a you. That's a lie. That's a lie.
We've all been slagging you off in the chat. You don't need to watch it. You don't need to. We're slagging you off big time. Don't watch it. Chris, what do you want to talk about? We'll move on. Move on. Chris, start talking.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on from that. Well, I just want to ask: are we sleeping on Mr. Dennis? for
no,
his
not
championship.
I could have predicted you'd say that.
No, I don't think we're sleeping
How
on
could you have
Dennis.
predicted that?
It was just interesting that the Porsche pace seemed to disappear. Like, they were strong in practice, and in qualifying, none of them turned up.
Well, Dennis got in the duels, yeah, but
he did. Bearing in mind, he did get in the duels. You are right.
And he topped.
Still didn't turn up though, did he? He still
top the group. Top the group.
Top the group. Nico Muller second.
Yeah,
but
and he did say afterwards he didn't feel the car was with him.
Lost out to Edo in the quarterfinal stages.
But yeah, so I say, remember when I was on last time out before Christmas, and I said, "Oh, that was a bit of the Sao Paulo win, bit of a lucky one." I'm not so sure anymore. I think it could be a three-way battle this season.
I don't. You say a three-way battle, but a three-way battle between who?
Ollie, Nick, and Jake.
Already. So who you discounting? Verline. You're discounting Verline. Who else? Norman Nato. We'll leave that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose they are the main ones. But no Verline. You don't think Verline's in this?
Well, Verline could be, but I don't know. Our Porsche, with the mistakes they made within that race, if Andretti have the tactics, they could beat them.
Maybe.
Again.
Maybe. That's the thing with Porsche. I must admit, I do agree that sometimes they don't get it quite right. We had an interesting discussion. I'm sure you heard it with Toby. I kind of was like, well, they could have managed that race a bit better, but he was like, maybe not. Maybe it was just you couldn't do it. But I was like, well, you're 1 and 2. Surely you can try and do something to manage the race a little bit better. But
no.
I do think Jake is in this, and Jake at the moment is showing good form, and he was a bit unlucky because he nearly could have got a podium. He did have attack mode in that last couple of laps, but Roland, for whatever reason, must have had really good energy because even though he was faster than the ones that had attack mode, and he was
Jake ran out of energy on the line.
Yeah, so I think Roland ended up being a bit quicker, so he just a tad unlucky, but could have easily been another podium. Ended up going to Roland.
Yeah, and watching through the race, obviously Jake stayed in that top 7, I'd say. I don't think he dropped below 7th at all in the race, if I remember correctly. And he was always at least 0.5% up on everybody else. Yes, okay, he used the energy a little bit too ferociously come the end, but in an energy management series, he seems to be taking this better than anybody else at the moment.
He's one of those better drivers, and I think it is on Andretti. Andretti have got to help him because I do think their car can go wayward sometimes. Like sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's in the middle of nowhere. And when it's in the middle of nowhere, he struggles. Does Jake? I think a little bit, but and sometimes I do think Jake embellishes. I do think he'll say that the car was and obviously it was pretty good because you were the quickest, mate. But when it's not good, then it's not good. And I think you have to go back to his championship defense season, where like in a couple of races where they were really struggling, and even Jake couldn't get him out of the hole. But since then they've improved. It's just you've got to keep your eye on Cassidy, you've got to keep your eye on Pascal, and even the Jaguars. Like I was actually fairly impressed with Mitch Evans over the course of the week. Like his pace was good. Like he got into the duels, he got into the semi-finals. So that shows me that there's some pace from Jaguars. So it's like you can't count anyone out, and it just shows you that if you're having a 6 out of 10 day, you can't have a 6 out of 10 day because you'll be at the back of the grid. Right, you have to be on it. You have to be there or thereabouts.
Well, yeah, agreed. But on the flip side, Jaguar, as we said earlier, Jaguar haven't scored any points yet.
Yep.
And what caught Mitch out? Mitch could have had a good run if obviously the way he was going at the second half of the season last season, but. Yeah.
It was energy. For Mitch, it was energy efficiency, wasn't he? Because he was in a good position. He was up there at the front, and it just felt like a stone because he just didn't have the efficiency, which is a really interesting issue that Jaguar have got right now because that's something that we wouldn't expect from them.
Yeah, and well, say you look at the Envisions as well, but they didn't seem to have as much of an issue.
Yeah.
It seems to be a Jaguar specific issue, not an Envision issue, which it's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, Pico, what are you thinking? Because you haven't said much.
I think it's ridiculous to count anyone out at this point. I mean, and case in point, I know that I bang on about it, but Nick Cassidy did not score a point until Jeddah 2 last year, and he was vice champion. And the only reason why he wasn't stormed away in that first half of last season to a point where it was almost from that point onwards. And yes, like I think it was after Tokyo, it started to get a little bit dicey to a point where we thought we might have a fight going to London for it to go away in. But yeah, I think we're now in this run of I don't want to say races come thick and fast because they really 3 weeks to wait for the next one, but that's thick and fast in Formula E. And then we've got 2 weeks to 2 weeks to Jeddah after that, and that's a double header.
Yeah.
And so I think once we get past Jeddah, that's when we can finally go, right, this is what the championship's going to look like.
Yeah.
So we left Jeddah last year going, look, Ollie Rowland is looking incredible.
Yep.
And I think when we left Jeddah last year, the only that could go past him in the championship at the next round was Taylor Barnard.
Yep.
Who was doing bits last year. And so, yeah, I think it would be wrong of us to sort of say, like, oh, they're not really in. And I'm not being critical here, Chris, but to say Jake, we're sleeping on Jake. He literally won the first race. He's second in the championship. I don't think we are necessarily sleeping on him when he's that close. But I definitely think, and watching the race yesterday, we've got the season 9 Jake back. 100% we have. Because I think after he won the championship, I'm not sure what happened. It's like he went away for a couple. He was still there or thereabout, but this one, but the Jake that's turned up this year looks like the proper fighting to the bitter end. He should have had a podium yesterday, and was very unlucky to miss out on it. He was so methodical, like you always up, and it just didn't work out. So yeah, I think you're 100% right. We cannot sleep on, but I think it'll be wrong not to count anyone else out yet so far.
Yeah, and I say I'm far from counting anybody else out. It's just obviously interesting. Obviously, those seem to be the 3 names that seem to stick out in the first 2 races. But yeah, obviously we've got a run of F1 tracks in my head now. Obviously, we've got the run of F1 tracks, and it's another one of these where we get the F1 tracks nice and early, and then we get onto the tight, twisty street circuits.
And then back to the F1 tracks in Shanghai later on in this season. Yep.
Well, obviously exclude Monaco. Is that the only one?
Monaco, Shanghai, Tokyo isn't, London isn't, Berlin isn't. So yeah, that is it. Sanya isn't. So nope. So it's just Shanghai, Monaco, Jeddah, Miami. Unless I've missed
Mexico.
one. Mexico.
Well, Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. We had Sao Paulo, obviously chaotic, but yeah, I say, see if we get like a bit of a split in seasons after Jeddah.
Yeah,
be interesting to see.
It's interesting. It's a bit like the 10-game rule in the Premier League, and it can't trust the league until you've played 10 games. Can't trust the championship until you get past Jeddah. Chris.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolute pleasure having you on.
Cheers, gents.
And we'll speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon.
See you later.
Ta-da.
Right, Riccardo Patrese. I don't know why I called him that, but here he is.
Yeah.
Riccardo is here. Riccardo Di Costa. I'm assuming.
Let him say what he wants to talk about.
What do you want to talk about? Maybe he doesn't want to talk about it. He spoke about it yesterday.
I mean, no. Yesterday I prodded him on it.
You did prod him on it.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to talk about how his shoes are really fit nicely on his feet today.
No, not at all. But anyways, I'll talk about Acosta because who does talk about Acosta in this show, right? So yeah, like I said yesterday, it was a disappointing race for Da Costa. I didn't recognize Antonio at all race, because it just wasn't him. He was picking battles where when he shouldn't have. So the push off with Roland, obviously the crash, and so many little things I can remember. I literally thought, well, he swapped seats with De Vries or Roland or someone. It just wasn't him. And in the beginning of the show, I was listening to you, and I suddenly saw at the bottom like Antonio escaped without a penalty, and I thought, how? Maybe I put that in consideration because Cassidy was on the inside, but it seems that the FIA deemed that Gunther's line was not appropriate, so there was the crash. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't agree with that statement, as I said earlier. Like, I didn't. You thought, as a Da Costa fan, I'm assuming you thought it was a penalty. Like, he deserved the penalty. I'm assuming that's what you're saying.
It deserved, because there were so many incidents like that before that caused penalties, like time penalties. I don't know if stopping the penalties even, but I don't think so. But pretty hefty penalties, and for the Costa to come away without a three place grid penalty for Miami, or even 5 places. It was quite surprising, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm sure if he was to come on the show, he'd defend himself and say exactly what the FIA said, is like he had nowhere to go. But at the same time, as I said earlier, you can't accept T-boning a driver. Like, then you open a can of worms. Right, well, I was trying to attempt to overtake this person, I've T-boned this person, but you didn't give Da Costa a penalty, so why are you giving me a penalty? Like, I just feel like it opens a can of worms.
Yeah, it does, and Tictum, we know Tictum gets gets eaten a lot in this kind of situations, but it was right, because that race was so many chaos, and the statement he did on some comment section, like everyone was racing like an impatient child.
Yeah.
It was true, and Antonio was one of them, surprisingly. And to be, it was a race like it was a race from Antonio, like I didn't see him at all like that since the beginning of season 10, when actually in Mexico he did crash with Muller, and DNF'd. So it wasn't that bad as it was this year, but still it was bad, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm surprised. We got an analysis, so you can watch Pico and Josh Birch. They've gone through the situation and given their thoughts. That's coming out on Tuesday, so you can have a look at that and see if you can see what you think again once watching it again. But
Yeah, and actually, sorry to jump in, because there are some Portuguese people, actually commentators, that are more biased than me, because I just saw a slam dunk penalty, and they were Antonio was again in the middle of chaos in place he shouldn't. Yeah, nowhere to go, and I said, mate, are you seeing the same race as me? No, I mean, either way, if he had space to go or not, that is a clear T-bone. He should have broke earlier, and maybe if he broke earlier, maybe Cassidy would crash into him,
Yeah.
And
or Cassidy just goes past.
Yeah, we don't know, but that was not on for Antonio, and I hope he gets himself up from Miami, because the pace is there, and the package for Jaguar as a whole is there.
Yep.
And I think he could have a season like season 9, actually, where he started off slowly and then got on the pace, because we see that Mitch's and Antonio's pace is neck and neck.
Yep.
Like a Gunther and Jev from last year, you know.
Yeah.
But it's promising, and yeah, I actually wanted to talk about Mahindra because, but it was Connor that no, was it? Yes, it was Connor. Oh no, I don't know, but Mahindra are right there.
Yep.
And with Edo, and I just think that a race win is definitely on the cards for Eduardo.
Oh, I think
this
so too.
year. I don't know about the race, but the package is there. The car is efficient. Where in prior seasons it wasn't there. It was their main issue.
Yeah.
And last year pace was there, but the efficiency was not. So, and with consistency of Edo, we know he can get himself into trouble often, and that collision with Jake, which I was thinking it could be brought up here along the show, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was borderline, but if he can get away with that,
yeah.
If he can get away with that, I think Edo could be really could get away with many things. He did past seasons ago, but we'll see. But the pace is there. The driver is there. Nick can be there if he fixes his issues, because we saw in season 7. I know it was not a normal season, let's just say, because everyone was so close, and the qualifying format got exposed so much that in the end Nick won with 98 points or something. But we saw it once from Nick when he's totally focused. He doesn't make stupid mistakes. He can be there. So yeah, and Nick has to look at Edo, because race let's just say race IQ, let's just say it's they're even.
Yeah.
But Nick tends to do more mistakes, you know.
Yeah.
But they could be there as a package.
No, for sure.
Look out for Edo.
I do think Mahindra are going to be there, and I do think probably Edo will outperform Nick. And I do think you're right, that race win is coming. It's just they've got to put it together. As I said, I was quite surprised that it didn't. I had already made the Eduardo Mortara winner graphic, put it that way, because I was certain that he would pass Cassidy with the attack mode, right? I was like, this is a done deal, right? The attack mode is so powerful. He's got 3 minutes left. He's going to do it in 3 minutes. And the fact that he didn't, I'm just like, that's a missed opportunity. And obviously it must be down to energy or battery management, battery temp management, something like that's happened. And Mahindra will learn from that. Maybe then they go, maybe we took it a little bit too late. And we should have taken it a little bit earlier, so we could have maybe got the lead, called the car, and managed it from the front. But that's something, as I said, they need to learn how to win. And that's what Fred said, and that might be part of their learning. So when we get to Madrid, and I get to speak to Fred again, or unless I can get an interview with Fred before Madrid, because I would like that. We'll find out. If Mexico was one of those days where you're like, okay, that's another bit of the puzzle to eventually winning a Formula E race.
Eventually, and we saw that in São Paulo as well. It's not like it's just a fluke, or their setup was bang on like in Visions with Seb, but as a package they're there in different type of races, in different type of situations. They've proven they're there, likewise as Roland and Cassidy. But just those two are just on another level,
Indeed.
But
Right.
Still, Mahindra as a package are there.
Yeah, for sure. Right, Ricardo, we're gonna let you go. Thank you so much for coming on and waiting for as long as you have.
For sure. I got some time to study, so yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, no worries. No problem.
But yeah, thank you guys. Cheers.
No worries. See you later. Good luck with the studies as well.
Yeah, thank you guys. See you.
Bye-bye. Well, there we go. Hello. You okay? You look a bit confused.
Yeah, no. just tired. Just
think,
tired.
just tired.
I think this is
we've
the
done well.
longest one that we've done.
Longest one. To be fair
yeah.
play. It's a show we can't do without you. And we want to get as many as you want as possible. And we massively enjoy obviously doing the show because we can't do the show without you, and it's for you. But we're going to call it there.
Very quickly before
on.
we go, I did see in the chat earlier on Nikki wanted me to do a room tour because for those eagle eyes of you guys may have realised that this is not the background that you saw in 2025. This is my new background. So my brother moved house today, and so this is my new backdrop for 2026, and I've kind of made my own. So shall we do a Pico's bed walk?
My God, Pico's.
Yeah. Here we go. Let's grab the mic, everyone.
This
New
is what
mic
we
as
were waiting
well.
for.
Yeah, proper.
You know your mic was cutting out. I know every once in a while on a couple of words. Don't know why.
Was it? Okay. I don't know what it's a brand new mic. I'm still learning this. But
it looks nice.
So yeah, no, it is very cool. So I'll just try and actually I'll start from this side and talk you through this way.
It's like the pit lane walk. It's hilarious. Right.
So
go on.
yeah. So what I've done is you'll see that we've got these lanyards here. So I've chosen these lanyards very specifically. So on the one on the end, my very first Formula E paddock back in Rome 2018. So we got that there. Got Jakarta season 8, Marrakesh season 8, Seoul season 8 because I did most of the races in season 8. So I thought I'd put most of them up there, but I've chosen them because they were the longest. So Jakarta was the longest one to go to. I think Marrakesh, I wanted that one up because it's quite funny because they've stuck the Marrakesh logo on top of. I've just realised I'm a little bit further down, so I'm just going to duck a little bit. I might just sit here instead. So yeah, Marrakesh, they stuck the logo over the Vancouver one instead because they changed it so late on. So we got Seoul there. Berlin season 9 because that's the only time I've been to Berlin, and I got lost on the Thursday, so I thought, I'll use that.
Did I not go to that one?
No,
must have not done.
No, that was
a few
the one.
Berlins I missed.
Yeah. We've then got Rome season 9. That was the one that was in July. It was really hot, but that is the one and only time I've been on the grid. So I thought, I'm going to put that one in. And then to complete it, we've got season 10, season 11, both London.
Was that season 10 one blue?
No, season 11 was blue.
No, that one there looks like a turquoise colour.
No, that's green. That's green.
Compared to the other greens, it's a different green. Okay.
Yeah, and then we've got to cap off season 12. We've got the Valencia pass because that's the only one I've got from season 12 so far. But then you'll see that I've got this little thing up here. I've put some caps from Formula E teams gone by. So we've got Apt, DS Virgin, Neo on the left, and then we've got Lewis Hamilton's 2020 Formula 1 car because it's a remote control one that I've got. Jacob left me this on-air sign, so I'm thank you for that. And I've put a Brawn and Valentino Rossi's Honda from I think 2003 on there. And then Lewis Hamilton's Qatar helmet from 2021 where he did the pride flag. My mate got me that for my birthday a few years ago and one of the best presents I've ever got. Then got Mahindra, Tachita and Dragon on the other side, all the hat. So there we go. That's Pico's bed walk. I'll go back to my seat now.
Nice. I've just won into my draw and pulled out a season 9 Monaco. That's the season 9 Monaco pass. I've got loads. I probably should have a season 1 one here. Here's my season 11 one.
These are the rest of them that I've just moved out of shot.
I should have. I don't know where my season 1 ones are, but hopefully I'll find them when I go to my. I thought I would have a new backdrop before you, because I thought I would have moved into my flat by now.
Yeah.
And I haven't. But it's coming soon. Actually, I reckon by Madrid.
I've just seen Chris's comment about the autism diagnosis. Spot on, 100%.
Oh, I need to see it because something's blocking. Hold on.
Yeah.
I need to get this.
Yeah, he said this is Pico's evidence when he gave the doctor. He was getting all. Yes. But yeah, no. So this is how I've kind of decorated it. I have also got one thing that but you'll probably see that after Miami.
I
don't really want to spoil it. So,
when
but Jack, you've already seen it, so because I showed it during our production meeting pre-Mexico to JB.
Oh, but maybe I missed it. The only thing I've updated, because I'm a madman, for some reason I brought myself a Nico Muller. That's my first ever Gen 3 car model that I own. The rest are all Gen 2s. But one day I'll have that in a backdrop rather than somewhere else, and I'll have a cool backdrop like you with my Formula E belongings. Once I finally
that's
move
the thing. I thought Jacob said like okay, you got to do something with that. So I was like, no, I'll do something with that. But yeah, no, I like the. That's the thing. I'd quite like to have a Formula E car somewhere there.
I got loads
but,
up there. I got loads. I got on that you can't quite see. But there's
maybe I'll put something on.
I've got
this
Jose Maria Lopez's.
Table.
I've got a Season 5 Neo and Nelson Piquet Jr.'s helmet. So the random. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll do that one day. One day, once we're all sorted, we'll do like.
Well, when we got the Formula E Zone offices sorted.
Yeah, when we got the Formula E Zone offices sorted, and we're all rich and famous. We'll do a merch. What's
I would like to point out I've got more hats that didn't make the cut. I'm not sure if you remember a few years ago.
We used to get caps and stuff. We haven't had any team caps.
When we did the 10-year anniversary, I swapped out caps every single segment. Every time we cut away from the screen.
You did.
So there are some that didn't make the cut, but yeah. That's my new setup for this year. So yeah,
Nicky's taken the absolute mick about me advertising my book, but I suppose I had to.
We all have.
Yeah, but come on, you got to go.
Buy the book. Buy the book.
We got up. Megan brought it, right? So happy days. Like the advertisement worked, and it helps the channel as well. It will eventually help the channel. But yeah, that's it. I think we've rabbled on and rabbited on for long enough. This is the longest FE bar in history.
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh, happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. They won't all be this long.
I hope not.
So what we'll do is we'll start cutting your talk time. I think we'll just start after cutting.
100%. Yeah, no. We're all going to be here on timers from next episode onwards.
Right. Have an amazing. We will be back. We've got some amazing content. Let's just show you what's coming up. So tomorrow we've got hopefully interviews with. We've definitely got interviews with Eduardo Mortara, Oliver Rowland, and Pepe Marte, which will be a part of one video. We were hopeful to have Dan Ticktum and Nick Cassidy, but they haven't come through yet. But they may still come to us. We've got Steward's Watch, a new show, new episode, or new series. That will be starting, which Pico and Joshua Birch did. That will be coming out on Tuesday, and then there'll be a series of shorts that will be going out as well. So please make sure to just hit the like button if you like our content. It just helps support us, because for the first time in the history of the world, Pico, we have made a YouTube short. Finally, something's gone viral. Something's gone more. Well, actually, 3K was the highest YouTube short. The DaCosta one, asking people if it was a penalty or not, has reached 7,500 views. So if you haven't hit the like button on that one, go hit the like button on that so it can keep growing, and so forth. So 7.5K is by far our biggest short in the history and of Formula E Zone. So therefore, happy days. We're doing something right. So and obviously having all of you here on the show is also doing something right. So on that note, have a lovely evening, and I'll see you soon. Good night.